Welcome to the source. The source. Source. Hey, get the source.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Happy Monday. Hope you all enjoyed your weekend. Had a nice little 2-1 MLB yesterday. Made a few dollars. I will take it. I was in the championship for the league. All I needed was the Mets to win. My opponent went 3-0, and I was 2-0, and I needed the Mets to win at plus money, and I would have won the championship. They choked away a 2-0 lead. So how poetic. First time I go to the championship of the league, I lose because of the Mets. But overall, it was a good weekend, man. Hit Georgia Tech.
And that's your team, right?
Yes, and it's my team. But overall, it was a good weekend, though. I hit Georgia Tech on Saturday. Lost SMU, but Georgia Tech was my bigger bet, so I made a few dollars there. Yeah, we're into it. It's week 1 now. We're gonna be uploading college football videos all week. There's already one up. Coastal Carolina, Jacksonville State. We got 2 more coming later tonight. But first, by the way, if you want to stick around, we're doing WNBA, then MLB, and then Lindy's staying on to give. He has a Atlanta Falcons NFL future bet to share. So we're going to talk Atlanta Falcons. Then me and Andy are. Did we just lose Chris? Oh no, he's back. And then me and Andy are going to go through. We're going to go through 6 of the college football games for this weekend. We're doing Thursday's games, so they're not just previews. We're going to be sharing picks and all that. If you want to stick around for that, that's at the end. So anyway, WNBA, Caitlin Clark, Indiana Fever on the road here in Atlanta. Are you laying the 2?
No. I would be looking towards Atlanta. Kyle, can you hear me? My audio good?
Yeah, I can hear.
Okay. Yeah, I'll be looking towards Atlanta, taking the dog here if I had to play this one. Atlanta has been playing really good basketball since Ryan Howard came back, Jordan Canada, and Caitlin Clark has been hooping too. They just ran into Minnesota, so it's a really difficult game. Both of these teams are trending upward, I would say. I'm just not in the business of trusting the Atlanta. I'm trusting this Fever team on the road yet, Kyle. They defensively, I look at them, they're 10-6 to the over when they're playing on the road. So that makes me think Atlanta team total to go up and over. Their offense should be a little bit better with Ryan Howard back, with Jordan Canada back. And I do think it's going to be a fast-paced game. Both of these teams like to get up and down the floor, push the pace, score in transition. So I think if I'm playing the game, I'm only looking towards taking the points with the Dream, thinking, and also the Dream half a game behind Chicago, because Chicago can't seem to get a win for that last playoff spot in the WNBA playoff race as well. So I'll be looking towards Atlanta plus the 2, but I think the safer bet is the team total up and over 81.5.
So Atlanta team total over 81.5. Okay. Next game, New York Liberty, coming off an ugly loss, right? I know the only reason I know that is a lot of my Discord were on the Liberty, and there was a lot of people. I think Helms was on the Liberty too, and he's a guy that a lot of people tail in WNBA. I think you were on the Liberty, which is a lot of people. I think everyone was on the Liberty in that game. You with me?
Yeah, they were. It was a bad spot for Connecticut. Had already lost to them 3 times, and Connecticut was also coming off second leg of a back-to-back. They struggled against the Sky the night before at home. So yeah, you would think that the Liberty would bounce back in this spot. Now with Connecticut winning that game and losing that game, Connecticut is only 2.5 games behind them for the number 1 seed in the Western Conference as well. So this one is difficult as well. I want to take the Liberty in the bounce back spot. The thing that's tricky here, Kyle, is that when you play Phoenix, you typically want to play Phoenix at home. They've been much better. 8-4 against the number straight up, 8-4 against the number against the spread. And those games come out to be about even. They're like a plus 0.01 in that point differential. Even as a dog, 5-1 against the number. I just don't want to fade the Liberty off a loss either, though. And the Liberty have already lost this season to the same Phoenix Mercury team as well. So will it be tough environment? They call it like the X Factor out there in Phoenix because their crowd is typically the biggest in the WNBA outside of Caitlin Clark. So it's going to be, really, really difficult environment. I didn't play this game. I could definitely see it going both ways. I'll sit on the sideline in this one, but if I had to play it, I think I would get there with the Liberty early. Just thinking that they bounce back off the loss, and they are the best team in the WNBA, but they just need to make some shots. Sabrina Ionescu went 0 for 6 from the 3-point line, and the Liberty had more turnovers in that game than assists, which is very, very uncharacteristic of Sandy Brondello's lib. So I think I would look towards Liberty early in this spot, but it's difficult to want to fade them. And they're the best road team in the WNBA as well. So I'll stay off of this one, maybe make a live bet, but it'd be Liberty early for me if I was playing anything.
So Liberty early or pass on that one. All right, one more game. We got the Mystics on the road catching a full 10 against Seattle. Storm have been playing well. I know that. 10 is a big number, though. Let me guess. You're on Washington first half plus 6.
Nah, I really wanted to get their count. I really did. They've been the best first half ATS team, but I will say this: since the break has resumed, they haven't really been covering as much. And they got Shakira Austin back. They got Brittany Sykes back. They are getting a big number, and they haven't played well in this role specifically. It's rest versus rest. 5 days of rest for Seattle. First game back after the road trip. And you said they were playing well, Kyle. They actually haven't covered any spreads. They're like 0-5 against the number since they returned from the All-Star break. I think if I'm playing this one, Gabby Williams, who a lot of people probably aren't super familiar with, she was on that Friends team. She was the lady who hit the shot that almost sent the game into overtime against USA. She's really, really good at basketball. Gabby Williams, I think, is going to help that offense a lot. I think she's going to help the defense a lot, and they get a lot of easy baskets. This is a contrarian look, but I think this game goes up and over the total. I think Seattle should be able to score against Washington, and I think the Seattle role players will play a lot better because they've been struggling to score, which is why they haven't been able to cover. Offense just been kind of looking really bad. So I think Jordan Horston, Nneka, Skylar Diggins-Smith, and Gabby Williams, I think that they convert some of those turnovers. Washington is bottom 2 in turnover rate over the last 5 games. And they're giving up a lot of points in transition off of those turnovers as well. So I think this one goes up and over the total. I think I look at Washington team total. It's only 74.5. I think they could get to 75, even though Seattle is much better, defensively at home. And you look at the number, I think Seattle's 9-4 against the spread at home. So they typically cover, even these big numbers they cover. And Washington also 9-4 against the number on the road as well. So it's a difficult game. I think if I really wanted to get there with Seattle, I would have jumped on them yesterday because this line did open at 7.5. So it's up to 9.5 now. Maybe another live betting spot as well.
So over 161.5 in the Washington-Seattle game. All right. Cool. Make sure, there you go. Crispy Cappin with 2 N's. That's his Twitter name right there. Thanks for stopping by, Chris. Make sure you check out his YouTube channel as well. He posts a show every morning.
Best of luck, fellas.
Yep. Later, man. All right. It's time to talk some seam. Let's bring on Toast and Lindy. We got 5 minutes. Cubs Pirates we're starting with. So I don't think we have the Blue Jays Red Sox game loaded up because, as you know, we don't even talk about double headers here, but that one technically isn't a double header because the first one's they're resuming a game that had been it was actually the Cutter Crawford game from a couple months ago. That's the game they're resuming. So I don't have the graphics loaded up for it. I'll ask these guys if they have any thoughts on it. I know Toast is probably going to pass with the unpredictable bullpen movement. But you know what? Maybe if those early games are over and they can see what arms are available, maybe they could come up with something. We'll talk about it. But I don't have any of the Kansas City Cleveland graphics loaded up. Just letting you guys know. You guys hit on some college football. You guys tail Georgia Tech. I know a lot of people like Florida State.
Tinker,
what's up,
Hawaii
man?
This weekend?
What's up?
Said any of y'all bet Hawaii this weekend?
Yeah, anyone tail Andy on Hawaii? It's a great bet. Astros first 5, Sauce. Come on now. Yeah, Astros first 5. Let's go, Georgia. Sounds like someone's laying the 14 points. After that Hawaii pick, I might have to take Clemson out of spite. Yes, sir. Georgia Tech. New Mexico money line. I had that too, but it was I had New Mexico money line also, but it was a like super small. I had like a profit boost, and you know you can't place a large bet with those. They give you a max bet. So I put a few dollars on New Mexico money line. It wasn't really like a pick. It was more just like doing some gambling. But what a heartbreaking way to lose, right? He said, I tailed just because everyone was against you on Florida State. I also tailed Hawaii. Wish you would have told me he was a rookie before I placed the bet. In Andy's defense, that wasn't just a lot of people, professional bettors, were saying the same thing. That was not. Like, I phrased it as that was Andy's bet. I just phrased it as it was Andy's bet, but a lot of people were saying that same thing. Yeah, Trinidad. So starting this Saturday, we're going. Wait, hold on. No. Okay, so Trinidad. No, we're not doing 10 a.m. for Thursday. The Thursday games are at night, so it'll be regular time. Saturday, from moving forward for the college football, will be starting at 10 a.m. Eastern time because we're going to go through 25 games. And rather than do it, I used to do it in order of the time. rather than what the yo prop Beaver. So rather my bad. So rather than do it in order of the kickoff times, me and Andy are going to rank the games in order of importance. And so basically, if you can't get there at 10 a.m. Eastern time, we'll be doing the quote unquote less important games first, and then we'll finish with the Clemson Georgias and we'll finish like the last when you get to like 11:30, getting close to kickoff. We'll be doing the big games. That's how we plan on doing it. Lindy's gonna get in and be like, "What the fuck's going? Where's Toast? Did you send him?"
I just checked to see if I forgot to send it, and I don't know. I mean, Lindy's here, obviously. I'm just waiting for Toast. Lindy's mic must not be up. Lindy, you gonna talk?
Speak up, Lindy.
He's frozen or something. I don't know.
Yo, what did you type into Google to find that?
No, I saw this on Twitter one day, and I don't know if something's ever made me laugh this hard in my life. So I just took it, and I've just been airdropping it to people ever since. I airdropped it to Andy the other day.
Lindy's here,
sister
bro.
On vacation. I've just been airdropping it to people. It makes me laugh so much. So.
Lindy's here.
Oh, Lindy's here? Oh, okay. Let me add him to the stream. I'll move it to Toast. Let me add it. I'll move it to Toast spot now. All right. All right. So let me add Lindy to the stream. Lindy, just some stalling, classic stalling. The entertainment industry, right, Lind?
Oh, yeah. Oh.
See, at least Juice is sticking out for you. It says, looks like
Where's
Beaver,
Toast?
okay.
He's never late.
Well, can't say that again.
Yeah.
Hello.
Oh, he's here.
Oh man, on cue.
I was gonna say he's never late.
I know he's a good boy. 1 second.
Say the devil's name and he shall appear.
You know what the cure?
Forgive him.
You know what the cure to that is? Don't have a 2-year-old.
That is probably the cure. I am the 2-year-old at my house, so it is what it is. Just.
All right.
I'm hungry. My wife's like, "What do you want me to do about it?" I'm hungry.
Yeah.
Well,
More.
Suppose. It's a
All
personal
right.
problem for me.
Shall we talk some seam?
I
Let's
like
do it.
that.
All right. So first up, Cubs Pirates, solid pitching matchup here too. Tyone Keller, guys, as I already told Toast, I'm in college football mode, so I'm just the host. I'm looking to tell you guys. I haven't looked at. I don't have time to look at the baseball slates anymore. So I'm just the host here. Whoever would like to talk first, Tyone Mitch Keller, got anything for us?
Lindy, do you have anything? Because it's going to be a pure pass for me. I can talk about it.
I can't even see him right now. Do I have to refresh or do something so I can see?
I'll come out.
Can't even see.
Oh yeah, Toast is going to leave and come back.
Sleep this well. Okay.
You see me, right? Oh, they both left and are coming back. I like, look, dude, remember when it froze on Toast's face and he was like,
I mean, that's the one thing you got to respect about our guests. Both are innovators, both like to take the first step, and, you know, that's what our guest did today. Lindy's back.
I see both of you. Do you guys see each other?
Okay. Now I got him. Nope.
All right, cool. So, Cubs, Pirates, do either of you gentlemen like to share anything?
It's a pure pass for me. I don't really want to get involved with either one of these teams. I guess I lean Pirates slightly, just in the fact that Mitch Keller has been, over his last 7 starts, has been significantly better than Jameson Tyone. Tyone was looking good for a while, but 4 of his last 5 or 5 of his last 6, he's been pretty damn bad against Detroit, Cleveland, the White Sox, St. Louis, and Cincinnati. So again, the Pirates offense is very, very hard to back. But at the same time, I do think they have a pitching advantage. So if I had to make a bet in this game, it'd be Pirates first 5. But like I said, it's a pure pass for me.
I was going to say, be chill on that Pirates bullpen. It's pretty taxed.
Yeah.
Lindy?
Yeah, I'm chilling right now, waiting to get the lineup. Because O'Neal Cruz is plus 350 to hit a homer, but I don't want to play him in the 6 hole at that kind of a price. The main thing that matters when you're just projecting out a single individual event is lineup order. Whether they're batting 2nd or 6th is a pretty drastic difference in price. And a lot of people don't care about stuff like that. I care about it in exceptional amount. And so I'm waiting. As long as he's batting 3rd or better, I will bet him at plus 350. Otherwise, just a complete pass of a game.
Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about 2nd and 6th, you're talking about probably a full half at bat more per game, right?
Yep. It's a gigantic difference, and people don't care about stuff like that, which is why sports books are still in operation and always will be. But very much something you should be caring about when building out your projections. So for me, I'm just waiting on the lineup order. If he's going to play center field potentially today, is that what I'm also seeing? Like,
what?
There was a report saying that he's going to start playing center field. Yeah, it came out like maybe 10 minutes before our show that they're going to start giving him time at center field. So I
O'Neal
don't
Cruz.
know what that means. I think it means that IKF is DTF, and they just really want to keep him around second base short. But yeah, the word on the street is that they're going to try to convert him to center field. That came out 10 minutes ago.
Yeah. So,
Good job, Pirates.
So if you get O'Neal Cruz in the 3 hole, you'd be looking at something up his alley.
Correct. Yeah, plus 350 or better, 3 hole, 2 hole, either one's just fine with me. But we've seen these random 6 hole stuff, and you know it's a 183 expected ISO for Jameson Tyone. The main thing, he is giving up more fly balls to righties over the course of the season. 871 pitches, the 1,000 or almost 1,100 pitches he has to lefties, coming in a little bit lower here. O'Neal Cruz, 12.7 degree average launch angle off the bat, but a 238 expected ISO. And then you look at this weather, it's blowing ever so slightly out to right field. Always nice for a pull hitter.
Right.
Just really quickly, Lindy, who's playing second base for the Pirates? Do you know? Like, if Nick Gonzalez is hurt and O'Neal Cruz is in center and IKF's at short, who's playing second base?
Absolutely no clue. Again,
Okay.
it's just.
It wasn't a gotcha. I was just so confused on what's going on with the Pittsburgh Pirates. That makes no sense.
Yeah, I mean they have Triolo can play second and third, so probably him if I had to guess. Again, I don't know if it like starts today.
No, I get it. I was just
center,
so baffled by that.
Yeah, I mean it's an interesting thing because like having a shortstop with a 98 mile per hour arm, some of those rockets he's throwing, it's like, all right, convert him to center field. He's a big, huge athlete. We saw Jackson Merrill go from an infield.
I was just about to say, Jackson Merrill makes it look really easy. He makes it look real easy.
It's a lot easier to, fill out your outfield every single day because you can play to the platoon. And defensively, O'Neal Cruz, I think, is going to be fine no matter what. But kind of a weird thing for Pittsburgh. I don't mind though when teams that are not competitive don't it bugs me when they don't use the next month to look at what they have or to test out stuff. We saw it with Michael King. How good has Michael King been as a starter with the exception of this weekend for the San Diego Padres? He was never, ever in the talk of being a starter. And then the Yankees are like, screw it. Let's see what we got. Because if you can convert a guy to a starter, they're far more valuable. More innings equals more work equals, you're more valuable to your team.
All right. Cubs, Pirates. Let's move on. Astros, Phillies. Kind of a weird spot for both teams because yesterday I was on the Phillies plus 120. It was a nice hit. Sweat free too. I mean, the Phillies opened that game up in like the sixth inning, I think it was, and I turned it right off. I was good. Now they fly back home without a day off to play a really good Houston team, a Houston team that's hitting right-handed pitching. They have been for a couple months too, but at the same time, it's like a rock and a hard place here because, all right, you got Houston, who's smashing right-handed pitching, but it's Zach Wheeler in Philly, where I don't know if there's been a better starting pitcher in a location than Zach Wheeler in Citizens Bank this year. So I don't care. Part of me is like, I don't care what Houston numbers say. How could you step in front of the Zach Wheeler train? But at this price, you can't bet Philly. So what would you guys do here? I didn't look at it. I'm just giving you guys the intro.
I mean, for me, I don't really know what to think. I feel like if the Phillies offense is starting to turn a corner, which they have started to do the last couple of days, then I mean, if you truly believe that, then I guess you can get behind the Phillies. But the Astros, I mean, Zach Wheeler has been pretty good at home, but his last three home starts, he has an ERA over 5. So the whip's at a 1.3 and the xFIP's around 3.4. So it's not, I mean, it's positive regression coming his way, you would assume. But still, at the same time, the Astros, they should have Jordan is in the lineup today. He's batting number 2. But Nick Pivetta, Tanner Howe, Chris Flexen. I mean, the difference between Zach Wheeler and the guys that I just named is night and day. So that being said, though, the Phillies versus right-handed pitching over the last 14 days, 30 days, they're 20th at best, maybe. But they do perform much, much better at home. And they have done better versus right-handed pitching as of late. Lopez pitched really well against them. Walker looked really well against them, but they got to Singer, they got to Cabrera, they got to Jake Irvin. It's just if you believe in Blanco or not. I think that we have some negative regression coming his way. I don't really trust what we've seen from him, but at the same time, I don't know if I want to lay -1.5 and only get like +110 with the Phillies. So it's going to be a pass with me, but if I had a gun to my head, it'd be Phillies -1.5.
If you had a gun to your head, it would be Phillies -1.5. I mean, I agree that this price is like a statement here. -185 against the Astros. Because, everyone's looking at this like, how do you not take Houston at that? And
I didn't mention the Sunday night baseball fade because it hasn't really been a fade this season, for the record.
All right. So Toe said Phillies -1.5 for pass if you want to put that up for him. Prop Beaver.
You mentioned the gun, and I didn't really feel
I hear you. All right. Lindy, there's a gun to your head. Place a bet on this game or the gun goes off.
I have a joke that I want to say. We're not going to go there. I like Houston money line. This is definitely going to be a spot for me. Jordan Alvarez back into this lineup. That's a plus. No doubt about it. You look at Zach Wheeler at home. No doubt about it. Very good. 0.91 whip, 2.41 ERA, 180. Batters are hitting, 180. That's the darts call. But anyway, it's very much a spot for me where I still think Blanco's going to do all right going forward. And here's why. I think they're reducing his workload kind of on purpose. This is something we've seen now the last few games, 89, 88, 73, 84 pitches. They know Justin Verlander is going to get activated here again. And I think that it's one of those spots where they want to utilize him, maybe not just full-blown starter time going forward, but I think that's probably going to be a positive for him. This is a huge workload for a guy who is a lot older than most guys having their first long stint in Major League Baseball. And he's already seen a lot of innings, 138 innings for him on the season. Yeah, I would expect negative regression when you're talking about an enhanced workload like that, but they're going to start cutting him down to like 5 innings and turning this over to a bullpen and playing the platoon game. I've always liked Houston's bullpen. Houston's bullpen's a big reason why they're competitive here in a season where things looked lost post Kyle Tucker being hurt. A number of different pieces from the starting staff that have just fallen by the wayside for different IL stints. But I think he'll be all right for one night and one night only here in Philadelphia against a team that, yeah, as you said, 94 WRC plus over the last 30 days against right-handed pitching. I think Blanco does just enough to make this game competitive. And when you start talking about competitive games, where I could say like 55-45, Philadelphia wins it, this is value. I think it's just a value play on Houston money line.
I'll give you that. The only thing that threw me off with with the Houston is Hader went yesterday. Abreu's 2 of the last 3 days. Nestor went last night, and then Taylor Scott 2 of the last 3 days as well. That's the only thing that pulled me off.
Just on one day, knowing that left on left, you're going to get Schwarber, Harper, any leverage situation, you're getting a top 3 arm and top 3 closer in baseball up there, so it helps.
I was looking while you guys were talking. I was looking at what about an over here? You can get it at 8, like 2 great lineups. I know the Phillies haven't really been hitting, but Blanco hasn't really been the same either. Put up over for me.
Okay. Yeah, win in ever so slightly is sitting with a decent enough dew point in this.
Is there a retractable roof here?
There's no retractable roof here. And,
that was a
no
running joke. That was a running joke
squirrels.
from Saturday. What ballpark was I? Was like, is the roof up?
The retractable
Tampa
roof
Bay
at Target Field was something else.
The one ballpark that should have a retractable roof that doesn't, Minnesota, when they built that thing and they're like, hey, we're going to have baseball starting in March. I'm like, good luck with that, you dipshits. Way to go. Way to go.
Is it really 90 degrees in Minnesota today, though?
No, we'll get there. I mean, there's a couple of night spots, I think, coming up later. But, low 80s at first pitch for this Philly-Houston game, wind and ever so slightly. I mean, the main thing for me is getting Alvarez back in that lineup, knowing the Blanco's there, knowing you're going to have access to Hader, and knowing that bullpen games are generally good things when you're a good baseball team, or like having 3-4 bullpen arms that you can utilize in those spots. Because, Houston's got those.
All right, next game, please, Prop Beaver. And next one's an interesting one. Toast, you got Nasty Nestor on the road, where he's especially nasty at times. And when I mean nasty, I mean not a good pitcher. Very expensive price on the Yankees here. Problem is Mitchell Parker has seen better days, to put it delicately. But obviously at this price, I want to take the Nats.
Very curious to see what Lindy thinks of this game, but I played the first 5 under 5 personally. I think that we're starting to see Nestor maybe turn the corner a little bit after 2 very good solid starts, albeit his road start was on the road against the White Sox, but his previous road starts, Philadelphia, Boston, Tampa Bay, I mean, those are teams that you expect to probably get to him. The Nats don't fit that mold for me, especially coming home from a road trip where they're actually in a really weird spot where they had a road trip where they ended in Philadelphia, then they went home to play Colorado, then they went on the road to play Atlanta, now they're back home here. I don't really trust the Nats to score runs here. And then as far as the Yankees are concerned, look, I said yesterday on the show that the Yankees were probably going to throttle the Rockies after losing on Old Timers Day, and they did that 10-3. But, and there's a huge but behind that, how did the Yankees score yesterday? Home runs, Judge, Stanton, Soto, bang, bang, bang. I mean, I don't really trust them to score runs completely. And if it's not Judge and Soto producing for this team, who's producing for the Yankees? So even if Judge and Soto both hit dongs, I still feel like this game is 4, maybe 5, and I push at the 5, at first 5 under 5. But I just felt like 5.5 was way too many for the first 5 of this game.
Bang, bang. Lindy, what do you think? What are your thoughts on that analysis?
Godspeed, sir. I will be doing absolutely nothing with this baseball game whatsoever.
Even more.
It's really hard. Mitchell Parker, not good. Taking on a Yankees team, pretty good.
Really? Are they that good against lefties? Are they? You really worried about that?
Let's accumulate Stanton. Let's keep him healthy for a week, and we'll see what happens here. Jazz Chisholm, not the worst situation, even left on left. Like, working through it, it's 88 degrees right now, going to be 84 at first pitch, dew point, high 60s, humidity sitting around 70%. I mean, it's going to be a decent enough ball off the bat game. And, well, it kind of worries me a little bit for both sides of it. I
think that's why we're getting the 9 here. Like, I truly believe that.
I mean, look at some of these home run prices today, too, and total bases price. I mean, we can't do anything with this anymore. This is just so broken. It's like unders or pass across the entire board, which I'm probably with you, Toast, where like if I had to do anything to try to short this game or to like figure it out. I think an under in some capacity, but I can't even figure out what that would be for me. So I'm just going to say full out pass. Stanton's numbers were egregious waking up this morning. Everything's egregious.
Yeah, and I agree with you. Just really quickly, sorry, Sauce, just to interrupt you really quickly. Yankees versus left-handed pitching. Kyle Freeland, 6 2/3, 2 runs. Joey Cantillo got throttled. Skubal, of course, he pitched well. Andrew Heaney, 3 runs. Cody Bradford, 1 run. Tyler Anderson, 1 run. They got to Christopher Sanchez. I'm just saying, like, the Yankees versus left-handed starters aren't someone that I'm really scared of at the moment.
You listed off a number of pretty decent lefty starters that I would trade pretty much I would trade for any single person you just listed off for Mitchell Parker. Like
I would agree with that, but I also am seeing Mitchell Parker with his last 3 home starts: Angels, Milwaukee, Colorado. He's going 6 innings and giving up 1 or 2 runs. I mean, I just don't feel like the difference between the starting pitchers and Mitchell Parker is that big enough to make it a 5 instead of a 4.5 or a 4. Or sorry, 4.5.
There's a lot of people betting this game in the comments. Capper saying he likes the Nats team total under. Herbert Sports Pick said Yankees 0-6 run line against the last 6% all East. And Trevor Vanderbosch said he likes Nestor Cortez to record a win at -120. His outs opened at 18.5, which I feel like is crazy for Nestor on the road.
That's the most appealing thing that I've heard, period. Mainly coming off of back-to-back 7-inning stints, 3 hits. He's given up 6 total, no earned runs. Like, if Nestor Cortez is back, this Yankees team has a really good shot come postseason, but I'm not completely sold on it. Against the White Sox and then Cleveland, we've talked about how bad their lineup's been against left-handed pitching here recently as well. Just don't like the iterations of it. They got to Cole Reagans for 1 swing today, basically, or just like he got hurt. I mean, there's nothing you can do about that, but still got the Kansas City W there. I'll just kind of hang out and watch this one, which I know isn't very popular when like the dude who has 50+ jacks already and Juan Soto, who's God, and Stanton, who's built like Adonis, are all hitting baseballs. Like, you kind of want to bet on it, but I don't see anything.
All right, let's skip on over to the next game. Blue Jays, Red Sox. Oh, this is the one. We do have graphics queued up for it. I didn't realize. So this is one. They're playing a makeup game, I believe, right now. So I believe at this time we probably don't even know what arms are available. Do we?
I think a lot of them. There was a lot of length out of the guys that were going. Pivetta was pitching really, really deep into this one. I guess he got hit up a little bit. George Springer started that off in the 7th and then gave up 3 in the 8th. But they got a lot of length out of Pivetta. He went 6 innings today. And then it's Garcia, Winkowski, which I don't really think they give all that many shits about. As for Toronto, it's been a straight out bullpen game. So yeah, Berrios will probably have to eat, or Berrios will have to eat some type of innings here.
S-Dot said he's been in the Yankees run line, Judge home run, Soto home run, Stanton home run. And I would laugh, but he's been betting it every day, making money with those bets every day. So how can I even talk shit? Yep. So do you guys want to say anything about Toronto-Boston, or should we skip to the next one?
Skip it.
Oh, I like the over.
Oh, shit. All
again,
right.
You have Toronto. You tell me that I get to have Jose Berrios, one of the most overrated pitchers in baseball, for extra innings, potentially, even if they're getting completely slaughtered as they kind of thinned out every bullpen arm that they had here. I think I will take that pretty much every single time. We've talked about how good Boston's been against right-handed pitching. 195 expected ISO. He gives up to righties as well. So it's kind of like equal opportunity for everybody in that lineup, however it rolls out for the Red Sox to go nuts.
What have you seriously, this is not trying to a gotcha moment. What are your thoughts on the Red Sox offense not performing the last week and a half or so? Do you think that's just an aberration?
What a gotcha moment.
Don't care. I don't care. One of the things that I think is really hard with data is when you have significant ball players that get reinserted into a lineup and maybe need a week or 2 to get sputtering that didn't do rehab starts, and people just kind of gloss over that type of information. I mean, Tyler O'Neill was on the shelf for a while. There's no doubt that Tristan Casas, he got ramped up a little bit, but
he had a homer yesterday or whatever.
Right? 2 guys who strike out a metric ton, and plate discipline is off for about a week, 2 weeks as you're starting to get acclimated to big league pitching. You can go to AAA all you want. You're not going to see a lot of 98 with movement at AAA.
You're also not going to see guys throwing spin for strikes either.
And that's kind of the issue. And so I think when you're talking about really strikeout prone bats, I'd bear it out in the data. I tried to do like deep research projects like this over the winter where it's like, I have this idea. This is something I've started to notice in the data. I want to test this. And you just basically just go on a complete deep dive, and I'll tweet stuff out from time to time about it. But there's no doubt for me, you talk about a guy like Tyler O'Neill who strikes out a third of the time that he's at the plate, and a guy like Tristan Cassis, who strikes out a third of the time he's at the plate. It might take them a little bit longer than most to get back to where they need to be, because they need to be making contact to really make a difference.
Makes sense. Yeah. I mean, having Casas and O'Neill in that lineup, the power alone is just unreal.
You Capper likes the Red Sox first 5 run line, so he's laying the half run, also fading Barrios in a different way. Trevor Vanderbosch, the Red Sox have been outscored 8-23 at home. It's disgusting.
Yeah, they're terrible. They're terrible at home. They're what?
Well, they played the Snakes, though, that just sparked them in that one game.
They're 29-35 at home. They're not even a 500 baseball team at home.
Hold on, though. A lot of that was in the beginning of the season when they started terrible.
I don't care. This has been going. I mean, I don't understand. I mean, again, this is just like Baltimore over the last month. Like, why are we acting like they're such a good team because they played well the first 2 months of the season?
No, I agree. I've been fading Baltimore a couple times myself. All right, next game. Oh, good one here. Oh, look at this pitching matchup. Oh, I'm betting this one. All right. Oh, I hope you guys are on opposite sides. This will be a fun one. Max Fried against Bailey Ober. Toast Braves against Lindy's Twins.
Okay. No.
Just try to sneak that one on quick.
I was hoping he didn't hear it. No.
Where he's just nodding his head in agreement. Yeah.
That's what I was hoping. That he would
agree.
He would acknowledge it. All right. So Lindy, tell us about your team. You think -124 is a reasonable number?
Wyben v Bodies. Lindy, please shut up. No, I won't do that. I'm not going to probably be betting anything. If I had to do anything, I'd be taking Atlanta money line here. So usually these are the spots where it's like, I know it's my baseball team, and I pulled the trigger a couple of times, got bailed out with the St. Louis money line with us blowing another save. Fantastic stuff, 3-2 over the weekend. But I am pretty averse to trying to bet on Bailey Ober. Against him, a little bit more fun. I know he's been a lot better this season than what I expected him to be for us. The guy just gives up fly ball contact, and anytime you get a top of a lineup that has Ozuna, Olsen, Jorge Soler, I mean, it just spells disaster in 90-degree weather, 70% humidity, high dew point. I mean, across the board, I think Atlanta's the right side of this one. I just probably stay away because I've got enough other stuff on my card.
So Braves are pass. I kind of Toast. What do you think of maybe? All right, so I like Bailey Ober. He's having a great season. You can get Braves team total under 3.5 at plus money. I'm down to back the Braves against lefties, not against righties. The problem is, I think the wild card is Max Fried here because he was pitching so poorly, and then we faded him. What game was that where we faded him and he threw a freaking his last start? Who was that? His last start against?
Phillies.
Yeah, I faded him, took the Phillies. He went out there and threw the best game of his freaking season. So, like, is Max Fried back? I feel like Fried versus the Twins bats is a wild card, but I feel like I am confident Bailey Ober pitches well. So maybe, like, a Braves team total under 3.5 at plus money. That's razor thin, though.
I'm on the Twins money line. I think this price is indicative of how the books think. I got Twins -120. It's up to -128, 130-ish now, depending on where you're getting it at. This is me. Again, this price is just crazy to me. I get that the Braves and Max Fried is good, but Kyle just mentioned over the last 7 starts for Max Fried, he had a decent start against Pittsburgh, a decent start on the road in Arizona, and a somewhat decent start against Philadelphia. Giants got to him. Colorado got to him. Phillies got to him again. Miami got to him. I mean, I'm not in a spot where I feel like Max Fried should be this heavily priced, especially with the Braves team on the road that we know doesn't hit right-handed pitching well at all. And you have Bailey Ober on the mound over his last 5 home starts, a 1.67 ERA, a 0.08 whip, 0.007 whip, an xFIP around the 3.5, a full season whip at 0.96. I mean, Bailey Ober at home has been fantastic. The major bats in that Atlanta lineup are all righties, but the one lefty is Olsen and Kelnick, 2 of those guys. I mean, I just don't really worry about Ozuna and them. If they get a home run and whatnot, it is what it is. But this Twins offense against Max Fried should put up some numbers, especially at home. I know that the Twins didn't look good yesterday, but Twins at home versus at home this year, number 1 in OPS, WRC plus in WOBA the past full season, number 2 over the past 30 days, and versus left-handed pitching over the last 14 days, they're a top 5 offense and a top 5 offense for the full season. So does it bother me that I'm probably not going to see Duran and Jax went back-to-back days? Yeah, but I still feel like this price is a really indication of how the books feel. So yeah, I did play Minnesota money line today.
I like
Change
it.
that to the last 30 days. Change it to the last 30, and it becomes Minnesota 26th in baseball over the course of the last 30 days against left-handed pitching. So I mean, there are just like 2 stories to be told here. Byron Buxton out. Royce Lewis did get the day off yesterday. That's always nice. So he can't tear his quad going around the bases. That makes me happy. Yeah.
That's a low blow.
I hope you're right. I'm not going to be betting anything here, sadly. I might pull the trigger on a home run or 2, but I currently am still trying to decide. Carlos Santana's popping for me, which never happens. I don't know why that's occurring.
As far as the viewers, it looks like
I
a
was
lot
going
of
to
people.
say, I'm surprised you weren't going back to your boy Matt Wallner as a lefty, unless he's because you're mad because he's at the bottom of the lineup.
Yeah, I mean, left on left, we ended up sitting Larnach and we're playing Matt Wallner there. Left on left doesn't necessarily matter for, anything other than you get the ball on bat when you're Matt Wallner. He does everything you want from a home run hitter. He hits it high. He obviously hits it hard. He hits it far. He has a 252 expected ISO versus lefties. And so you kind of get a discount at 143 for his actual ISO. Sometimes that gets factored in a little bit more, but 33-degree launch angle. He has just been popping up lefties all season long. It's weird.
As far as our viewership, I'm surprised by this. First of all, we're polling at about 65% Minnesota, 27% Atlanta.
Wow.
So most people are clicking Twins. And then look at the comments, like Tinker's on the Twins. The UCapper, Twins first 5. Vanderbosch Jones, Trevor Vanderbosch, Twins he's leaning towards. Royce Lewis, home run. Chris Finnegan, Twins bats. It looks like the viewership's on. Let's do it. I'll ride with you guys. And I actually just looked it up. I can get Twins at minus 120 right now on BetMGM. Thanks, Odd Chopper. An unintentional plug.
I will take it.
So
Coach and Lindy need to get a room. What? So we can argue out our differences very, very loudly and in erotic ways. Sure.
Oh, shit. Hold on. Let me get this down. This is my first baseball bet of the day. Twins. Minus 120.
I can't do it.
Arguments are good for TV, too.
All right.
Here's the thing is that if I bet the Twins and they lose, then I lost twice.
Yeah.
So
I get you.
it's at this point I can't do it. It's not popping for me.
All right. Let me
Cheers for you though.
share it to the Discord real quick. I'm in. Bet placed.
Beaver, I heard you in my ear. What was that?
No, I was gonna say one of you two. I'd like you to start our next game because Kyle likes to hold up our show and place our bets.
All right, go to the next game then.
That's what I was gonna do. I like to be a good host.
Now where we're at?
Yeah, San Diego, St. Louis. What do you got, Lindy?
Yeah, I was looking at St. Louis team totals across the board, maybe laddering it potentially up there. Randy Vasquez.
If you start with his minor league numbers, we're going to have an issue.
Let's talk about Randy Vasquez in the minor leagues, can we? I didn't even know he was in the fucking minor league. All right, go ahead.
All I've heard all day long is how bad Randy Vasquez is in the minors. There's no way in hell he's going to pitch well in St. Louis today.
That's all he's heard.
Enlighten me.
That's all he's heard.
Enlighten me.
I didn't know that I sounded like the Monopoly guy, but okay.
Not you, everybody else.
Yeah, everybody. That's everybody else. Okay. Randy Vasquez in the minor leagues this season is sitting there. No, nothing. It's not funny.
That's what I was waiting for.
5.67 xFIP. 5.67 xFIP. And here's the thing. I bring this up every show all the time. Whenever you take numbers from the PCL, the Pacific Coast League, you have to take it with a grain of salt. It is by far the most difficult place to pitch.
Hold on,
baseball,
though.
including majors. Like, I would rather be a pitcher facing a major league team in San Francisco than be a minor league pitcher facing a minor league lineup on the moon in Reno or Albuquerque or 110 degrees in Oklahoma City. It is a disaster to pitch there in the summer. So that being said, sweet. But Randy Vasquez still in the major leagues, 4.74 xFIP, 5.93 expected ERA, really no swing and miss pitch. less than 6K per 9 over the course of this season and 17 starts that they've wheeled him out there, the corpse of Randy Vasquez for. It's hard to not be interested in something with St. Louis, but I don't know if I love backing Kyle Gibson ever. I think this might end up being just like an overplay for me in some capacity. I'll rerun some stuff, but yeah, I have no confidence in either starter in any way, shape, or form. I wish the weather was, a little bit. Well, I mean, it's fantastic, actually. Never mind. 93 degrees, 55% humidity. I'm going to rerun this. This is probably going to end up just being a flat out over for me.
Over? I can get with that. I mean, Kyle Gibson in St. Louis, that's been a fade since he arrived.
Since Nam, yeah.
Hold on. Question, though, because you guys would know more about this than me, but correct me if I'm wrong. We're talking about Randy Vasquez XFIP. Doesn't that take into account ballpark and weather and shit? Isn't that what I thought that's what XFIP was?
Sometimes. So expected, fielding independent, and it basically is like trying to isolate it out, but it doesn't do a great job when you're talking about like outrageous run streaks. And also the ball is going to react differently in different circumstances. There's a lot that like is very, very hard for like locking it down. Plus the ballpark factors for AAA, it's so hard to really quantify on a day in, day out basis, because I think Reno in the summer is unbelievable for production. Whereas you play there in October, you can't 1-for-1 swap that ballpark. It's hard.
Okay.
We can get into a lot about that, but
that made sense.
I use
what you
FIP
said.
and XFIP kind of independent of each other to double check things, but I don't necessarily get away from, trying to quantify each individual ballpark as like this perfect factor. I think it works a little bit easier in baseball or in the majors where we have just way more data. I mean, shit. Does anybody know Randy Vasquez's velocity? His last start in AAA? I don't. I can't find it anywhere.
I think at this price,
That's
it
like
would
a
be
basic
Cardinals.
thing. That's like a basic thing that they put up on a scoreboard.
Toast, you
Well,
back
now you
it?
got me interested.
The Padres toast?
Hell yeah. Padres money line plus 100.
Jackson Merrill for president.
Don't get me started on Jackson. Can't do it. It's going to take up the whole show. Anyway, Randy Vasquez. I will give you. He's been absolutely horrible in minor league baseball. I don't. But do I care? No. Do I trust this St. Louis team that has scored 3-0, 6-3, 10, 2-1, 5-6-2 their last 10 games? Absolutely not. And Randy Vasquez is his last 7 starts in the major leagues. Pretty damn decent. He had one blow up in Baltimore, but he pitched well in Pittsburgh. He pitched well against Colorado. He pitched well on the road at the Nationals, Arizona, Atlanta, Boston. I mean, I don't understand this infatuation that Randy Vasquez is just absolutely terrible. And I'm not talking about you, Lindy. I'm talking about so many other people. But when Randy Vasquez has pitched for the Padres, he's been somewhat decent. And then we flip it over to the bullpen situation. Essentially, both of these bullpens everybody worked. A lot of the guys worked yesterday for the Padres. A lot of the guys worked yesterday for the Cardinals as well. I still think the Padres have a gigantic advantage later in this game. I don't understand why the Padres are plus 100. If it's a trap, I will walk right into it with my arms wide open. But I just feel like San Diego has this. I guess if you even want to call the starting pitching a wash, sure. But San Diego has the bats advantage and they have a huge bullpen advantage. Plus 100, that price is just wrong.
I was thinking about tailing both you guys in a sense and taking Padres team total over 4.5.
I see that. I don't mind the over just because it's 95 degrees in St. Louis right now. Literally.
It's really, really hot. By the way, XFIP has 0 ballpark factors adjusted into it. I just had to double check that.
Oh, really? So
yeah, I didn't want to talk out of my ass because that's kind of what it sounded like at the end there.
They should include that. Then hold on.
But it has no bearing on it.
Wait, hold on. I think WRC Plus incorporates ballpark.
WRC Plus definitely does.
So I just assumed XFIP also did. So that's on me. All right.
You're all good. Just wanted to double check it for my own sanity, which is important.
It is important to know that too, because I mean, especially if you talk about like the Rockies, you can see like, oh, they're 9th in OPS, but 27th in WRC plus.
Basically, the way I've always thought of FIP and XFIP is it's like a pitcher can control one thing, he can't control another. Like that's like the basic way of putting it, and then trying to quantify it with a number.
All right, next game, possible ALCS preview here. Tigers, White Sox. Just a real barn burner of a game. I'm sure this will be on everyone's television sets tonight. Who the fuck's pitching this?
Ty Madden, Davis Martin.
Some gremlins.
Yeah, I'm good. You guys can talk.
That's about as much as I have for this game too. So Lindy, anything?
There were a couple of different things. Luis Robert, steal a base. Where did he end up going? I will double check the number because it's been flopping around a little bit. For whatever reason, Luis Robert is just kind of like trying to remind people that he's very, very good at baseball here. Only a 225 average on the season with 14 homers. Obviously, he was dinged up for a lot of the year as well, so is what it is. But you work through it, and the guy had 2 stolen bases against San Francisco, or had 3 within the entire total of the series. And when you get some of these unknowns that are coming in, and then you can kind of basically target a specific catcher on the other side, you kind of want to do it. Now, Dylan Dingler has been a pretty good catcher in terms of like arm strength, but hasn't been very good in some of the limited pickoff opportunities that he's had. It's going to be either him or Jake Rogers in there. And Jake Rogers defensively was somebody that I had graded out pretty below average in terms of arm strength. So Jake Rogers, somebody else that we might go out of our way to pick on. Luis Robert, though, I mean, this is just such a disturbing baseball game. Ty Madden, Davis Martin. Davis Martin's really shown, I would say, a capability of getting major league hitters out. This would be a White Sox money line play. We can put that on the graphic, but I'm not going to end up pulling the trigger on it. The only thing that I had saw earlier in the day, and I'm just trying to see and run it, was a Luis Robert stolen base.
Man, really? Okay.
Yeah, which is dumb. And I don't bet these a lot. My buddy is very, very good at these. He said he got it plus 285. Okay, good.
So you
plus 270 is the number now.
Capper asked if it's Luis Robert or Robert. I believe it's actually Robert, but he said he's cool being called Robert. Like, I think he came out and said, like, it's cool. Luis Robert is fine. So I think, like,
somebody corrected me away from Robert once upon a time.
Me too.
Yeah, it's Robert.
It is Robert? I thought it was. I thought he just said, like, that's cool. I'll be Robert.
No,
I thought that's what it was.
He's cool with Robert, but he knows that they've been pronouncing it the wrong way.
Oh, so he's saying it's actually Robert. Oh, so I misunderstood. I thought he was like, it's Robert, but I don't give a shit. Robert's fine.
That's how I interpreted it. I mean, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah. And he's been on fire, though. He's had 2 hits or more for 4 of his last 5 games. So Robert plus 2+ hits is always a decent look too.
Yeah, I got nothing to say, so we can move on.
The only reason I mentioned that is because you usually get a little bit better price than total bases for 2+ hits, because obviously it's harder, but yeah.
Ooh,
yeah, he's like minus 250 to get a hit, which is wild.
Another scorcher of a game, Marlins Rockies in Coors to make it extra weird. Edward Cabrera pitching against Ryan Feltner. This has got to be Rockies money line at this price, right?
Oh yeah,
right, like no question.
Oh, yeah. Let me pull up my notes. Go ahead, Lindy, if you have anything. Give me a second.
Yeah, I think the one thing to be a little bit concerned about is what the workload's going to be for Ryan Feltner, and you're turning it over to a Colorado bullpen. They really showed their stripes in New York. They're very, just fantastic, aren't they? Just giving up bomb after bomb after bomb, and a lot of people are going to have that happen to them against the New York Yankees. But this Colorado lineup is, especially terrible to potentially be backing here. I want to go to my absolute boy, Jesus Sanchez. And I want to get away from, I told myself I wasn't going to do this because he is bright red on my sheet in the same way that Corey Seager was the other day. I'm not going to go to the 2-home run market. We're not going to be doing that here, but I very much want to be backing Jesus Sanchez, probably going to be batting third there behind Jake Berger. Xavier Edwards going to be out for the foreseeable future. So there goes your leadoff hitter. They brought in Connor Norby. He's going to be leading off for the foreseeable future here. But Jesus Sanchez, 261 expected ISO up against righties. And I think I bring this point up a lot too when you talk about individual bullpens and their configurations. The Colorado Rockies have no lefties in their pen. Absolutely no lefties. They haven't all season long. I'm seeing if they still have they're going to basically have Luis Peralta, who's in from AAA, pitched 16 pitches the other day. And then Lucas Gilbreth had 18 pitches yesterday, whoever that is. What a creative player name. But I guess they have 2 lefties. That's more lefties than I've seen in the Colorado pen all season long. So it's a lot of righties potentially for Jesus Sanchez. And I bet they don't want to throw out Lucas Gilbreth or Luis Peralta to go face Jake Berger in his current iteration. So you probably have a little protection there. I think Jesus Sanchez hits not one, potentially 1.5 homers. We'll call it that for you.
Whoa,
but,
wait. You're throwing a 2+ out there.
I didn't want to throw
go
out
crazy.
I said I wasn't going to do it. But
you kind of did, though. You know they're going to bet it. What is the price on the 2+? How about that?
Oh, buddy.
If you guys you're just joining us, Lindy just guaranteed. No,
I didn't. Not what occurred. It's almost always best to bet it on FanDuel relative to any other book here. But there was a little bit of doubt earlier about it. OddsShopper also doesn't support 2 home runs, so it's something that I have to kind of scrub on my own.
All right, so Jesus Sanchez. He likes Jesus Sanchez to hit with power for all 9 innings. What you do with that information is on you. How about that?
That honestly, eloquently, that was perfect.
So 3+ basically is what you're saying.
Oh my God. If he does, I apologize for the YouTube spam that will be coming your way inevitably.
Prop Beaver put it on the screen. 2 home runs?
Did he really? Damn it, who typed the question mark on the teleprompter? Anything he puts on it, he's going to read it.
So, yeah, I just bet Rockies. That's what I was doing on my phone. I just Rockies down. And my thoughts were very simple. I mean, these 2 teams, obviously the Marlins are the slightly better team, but in Colorado, it's not even close. The Rockies are close to a 500 team at home. So they have to be priced differently, and they're not with this current number. Edward Cabrera, yeah, he's shown us he could be good and miss some bats at times, but not here. Not here.
No, not today. Not today, Mr. Cabrera. Not today. Mr. Cabrera's walking into Coors Field. Hold on, let me get my handy-dandy notebook out. Cabrera walking into Coors Field with like a 14% walk rate and nearly a 46% hard hit rate. Yeah, sure. Okay. Yeah, Rockies money line for me. I love this spot. Also, a little trend for you guys. Where did I put my cell phone? I had it written down. If you fade the Miami Marlins in the first game of a series since 2020, you are 70-26. Rockies money line tonight, and if you want to sprinkle that 1.5 at +180, go ahead and do that.
Whoa, let's chill. Just the money line's fine with me. All right, let's go to the next game.
Just bet Jesus Sanchez to hit 2 homers, and then collect
the
your
Marlins
money at the window.
The Marlins have played 130. This will be their 131st game this season. They've played less than 41 run games. The chances of this game landing on 1 is slim to none.
Night Owl in the comments saying he's taking a loan out and betting it on Jesus Sanchez 2+ home runs. But also keep in mind,
please don't do that.
This is the dude that tried telling us in the Discord the other night that Ezekiel Elliott's one of the best leaders in the NFL.
Oh my God!
Yeah, that's him. Night Owl. That's him. Everyone laugh. Said he's a great leader.
Me and my leader.
Yeah, he's going to be leading Rico Dowdle back onto the field for 75% plus of snaps because
dude, the jokes were good.
Old as balls running back.
See, someone goes, yeah, he's great at leading his team to the buffet.
Oh, that's so fantastic.
All right, next game. Rays Mariners. Interesting. Pepe Le Pew on the mound for Tampa. Bryce Thriller. Bobby Miller is no longer Bobby Thriller. It's Bryce Thriller now. So
you've came around on my guy, huh? You finally came around, huh?
I've always been a fan of Bryce Thriller. No. Let me finish the sentence. I've always been a fan of Bryce Thriller in Seattle.
Oh, got it. All right.
Wow.
Got it.
So I'm leaning Mariners here. Is anyone down to co-sign a Mariners bet?
I played Mariners first 5 money line. That's what I played, yes. Bullpen 2 tacks for me to deal with. But yes, I did play for Mariners first 5 money line for me. I actually hate this spot for the Rays after playing a really good. I mean, I know they lost 2 out of 3, but they actually looked pretty decent in LA. So to lose 2 of those 3 games because of Ohtani and home runs and stuff, I'm sure that's a backbreaker. And now they got to get it on the road and travel up to Seattle, a team that, again, I don't love, but I get Bryce Miller at home on the season, 2.9 ERA, 0.91 WHIP, 3.33 xFIP. I mean, you can transfer that out this last 6, 4, whatever you want. Not to mention we get this Rays lineup that I will give you has been a little bit better versus right-handed pitching over the last 7 that they've seen. Mitch Spence they got to, Merrill Kelly they got to, Zach overrated Gallen they got to. But everybody on the Oakland staff pretty much besides Mitch Spence pitched well against them. Again, the Mariners at home is a team that I like to bet on. Not to mention Pepe Le Pew, his last 5 road starts, a 5.25 ERA, a 5.34 xFIP as well. I just feel like Seattle in the first 5 has a huge advantage. I don't want to play against that Tampa Bay bullpen, who's been extremely good over the last month and change, if not more. Also, everybody is rested in that Tampa bullpen. I don't think they used anybody worth. Everybody's good to go. I know for a fact that Seattle, Munoz and Snyder have both worked 2 of the last. Two of the last 3 nights, and they went like 20 plus pitches as well. So you might see those guys, but the chances are you're going to see more Voth, Chirios, and Saucedo than those guys. I don't want to deal with. But Seattle first 5 for me.
I didn't realize that those 2 guys were Munoz both. Then they both threw over 20 pitches, so there's no way I'll bet Seattle at minus 135. In fact, I think the Rays might be sneaky here, but just a pass. Lindy?
I agree. Full game Rays, 100%.
I just like the under of the game. It's juiced a little bit more now. It feels really clear cut. Everything you said about the bullpen usage for me makes a ton of sense to be paying attention to in both of these lineups against righties right now. Tampa Bay 27th in baseball over the last 30 days, over the last 2 weeks. It is Seattle 94 WRC plus against righties last 14 days. I mean, it has just been. It's been downright criminal how bad Seattle's been at times against righties, and now you get a really good one in Ryan Pepio, and you get a decent enough bullpen that's obviously ready to rock here. Give me the under. It seems simple. I also want to say this again because I pulled that 1-0 Blake Snell, and who was the other guy in that one? It was Blake Snell and Chris Sale. They were going at it 1-0 ball game. I thought last night it looked all right potentially. If you're getting like 28-1-ish on 1-0 here, don't completely hate it.
See, there's a lot of there's a couple of people like the first 5 under. Munoz said he likes the Mariners first 5 money line as well. UCapper likes the Mariners first 5 as well. So it seems like there's a lot of people on that Mariners first 5. If you're looking to place a bet, might be a good look. I put Rays up for me, Rays money line. The bullpen has been so good, and I didn't realize the Mariners were missing those 2 arms. So Rays or pass. All right. Do we have one more?
No. I don't think so.
All right, play the song. Hit him with the song. Hit him. Prop Beaver. Oh, go ahead.
Community parlay, the parlay we bet, yeah. Community parlay is for the community.
No, but he's got
making a parlay. Yeah.
He's I heard the prototype of the Anytime Touchdown Scorer song. It's a banger.
Oh my God! Can we get like a album release? You know, like
no,
somebody gives you
the record company will sue his ass into the ground if he leaks it.
Trust me, I mean it's rough. These guys don't play around. These guys do not play around. I mean, they are really on me. So
all right,
no leaks, nothing like that. It got
You're really on me. Said Prop Beaver. There we are.
Beaver, type in kid cannabis and YouTube and tell me that's not a picture of you. Go ahead.
Dude,
I'm sorry, on Google.
You got to shut the fuck up. Somebody told me like that when I was giving a kid a tour around the school, a new kid when I was in high school. That kid is dead.
Really?
Now.
I just thought today for the first time.
I didn't kill him. He was killed in gang activity.
Dead?
Yes.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
All right, ready for the poll?
Yeah. That's how we transition into community parlay, guys.
I think they like the
entertainment industry.
Pirates, Phillies,
money line, Phillies money line,
Yankees
money line,
Red Sox
money line. Okay.
Someone wants the best of Prop Beaver album, greatest hits.
We'll get one soon.
These are the prop hits. These are the hits.
This will be his 3rd single. He has the Community Parlay, and then he has Dong Song.
The Dong Song, which is my most passionate ballad. Yeah.
About dongs?
About dongs, yes.
The Dong Song was a real passion project for him.
It is a passion project. It makes you feel.
Did you just type Yankees in there? Was the Yankees by a wide margin?
It's by a wide margin.
Okay, so Yankees are in. Next up, we got Twins money line. That's right. They like the Twins. I bet the Twins do. Did they vote Cardinals or Padres in that? Who would you say the more public side is there? Who do you think they liked? Probably the Padres. Padres.
So bad in AAA.
No, but I feel like the Padres are just a more bet team than the Cardinals right now. Put Padres money line.
Probably.
Tigers money line. And Rockies money line. Cast your vote. Oh, and while they're voting, Lindy, you want to tell them where they could find your stuff?
Yeah, oddshopper.com, y'all. You can go check it out there. Stochastic as well. If you guys want to check out any of the fantasy content as we're getting into the fantasy football season, things of that likening. Yeah, you can follow me at Eric Lindquist. Do Lindy's Leans, Lakes, and Locks every single night. And obviously, it's a great companion show for Kyle over here on his channel as well. He does a fantastic job breaking stuff down. I tried to do a fantastic job breaking stuff down earlier. Try to get those out for the people so that they can get those 2 home run plays. Oh, boy.
Yeah, I knew it when you hit that Corey Seager. I'm like, oh, people are going to be asking him for this for the rest of his life now.
Yes. So I've never dabbled into the 2 home run market period, but I've given out 4 now on my show. I've hit 3 of them, which is just an absurd number.
Crazy.
Like Kyle Schwarber, it's like 18-1. Cal Raleigh 26 or 28-1, depending on when you got it, and then Corey Seager 28-1 was the high number, 30-1.
Yeah. Lindy, did you?
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, did you see that they're putting Lindy, Dylan Cruz in the number 2 hole?
It's Mariners and then second place finishers. Put as many
whatever
got votes.
Yeah, so Cruz is a bet right now at plus 350 if he's in the 2 hole. So,
No.
Dylan Cruz from Washington. Sorry, that's what I was talking about.
Oh, we're going Washington. Yeah, I mean he's a gigantic prospect. I didn't know if you knew that he was coming up today. That's all I was saying.
You know what I
sometimes
found
you
with
early with the party, but I feel like hitting wise, I don't feel bad if I miss out on a Dylan Cruz.
Yeah, me neither. Yeah,
inauguration home run. Like if anything, I'll short him in those spots. Zach Kelly will open for the Red Sox on Monday. That is not what I was looking for. I wanted Cooper Criswell on 4 days rest for a second straight start. But
you know what I found though with because like okay, your 2 home run bet hit right. So I found with something like that. So I had an NFL underdog round robin that went 4-0. I think it was actually 2 seasons ago now that paid out huge, right? And then the next weekend, obviously everyone asked for one. So I was like, oh, cool, yeah. And I gave it out, and it went 1-3 or 1-4 or something. And then the comments were like, oh, I'm so crushed today. Because then it's like I'm realizing, oh, shit, these motherfuckers just went and bet the shit out of that, didn't they? Yeah. Like, so I'm always worried about shit like that.
My favorite is I had the Corey Seager 2 home run play. Not only that, but I went 7-1 on the day. And this guy was like, nice Tampa call, you asshole. I'm just like, oh, this is our industry. This is literally where we're at as a community and as America and as a world and as a nation.
But like, you got to admit, though, the days that you go 1-7 and somebody DMs you and be like, dude, that Twins look, hell of a job right there. You're like, yeah, bro, you're damn right. Let's get it back today, bro.
You're just crying. You're like making ramen in the fridge. That's fine.
There it is. Is that the community parlay right there, Prop Beaver?
Somebody also said Jesus Sanchez has not hit 2 home runs in a game yet this season.
So he's
criminal case to do.
So he's due as shit. All right, community parlay. Yankees money line, Twins money line, Phillies money. There's only 3 there.
Yeah, dude, it's a short slate. Jesus Christ, do we have to force?
Prop Beaver took it upon himself to make our community parlay 3 legs today.
Yeah, guys.
I didn't hear Prop Beaver for the first month of doing this show, and now he can't wait to come in and just yell at Kyle.
And now I'm about to cut the cord to his mic.
Plus 330. Oh yeah.
Plus 332 we got for a 3-leg community parlay because Prop Beaver doesn't like taking risks. All right,
I'm risk averse. What can I say?
We're gonna.
No, let's add a 4th square fucking big favorite. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's add a 4th one.
All right, so we're gonna do the Falcons, but this will be a quick one. Lindy's just gonna share. He had a futures bet on the Falcons, right? Didn't you have a future bet on the Falcons?
Yep.
Yeah. So it'll be a quick one. We're not gonna do the huge Falcons breakdown because we're gonna into college football picks after that. We're just gonna talk about the Falcons for a few minutes because Lindy had a bet he wants to share. And Prop Beaver, you jumping on screen for this?
Yeah. I'll
All right.
I'll share.
So later.
Later, my guy.
Jeez. All right, that was in another realm. We're going to the correct one now.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic stuff.
Did you just call Game 13 the Nether Realm?
Yeah, there was no graphic on the screen. No graphic on the screen. All right, let's get.
All right.
Spot.
Atlanta Falcons, and I'm interested to hear because now, granted, I haven't done a deep dive into the Falcons yet. I kind of wanted to be a seller just because I feel like Kirk Cousins off an injury. Does that really solve all their problems? I don't know. And like, just you add 2 defensive pieces that look really nice shiny new toys, but does that fix everything? I don't know. So I'm all ears. I'm a listener here. We're talking about the Atlanta Falcons. What would you, Lindy, take it away?
Yeah, I think this is just like your classic everybody jumping on top of the bandwagon. And is it ideal? Because I made this bet before the Falcons went out and got Judon, which, is obviously something that is not ideal in my life. But I love the under of 9.5 for this football team. There's just a lot of question marks. First off, if I could have kept Kirk Cousins in Minnesota, I would have. So this isn't like Kirk Cousins hate by any means. He was one of the most accurate quarterbacks for his entire tenure there. Say what you want about big games. I feel like he kind of got the short end of the stick with a really bad offensive line for the first couple of seasons. And by the time we put it together and started to surge, he tears his Achilles in the middle of that win. So under 9.5, though, is paying out plus 115, plus 120 pretty much everywhere. And I think it's not just worth a stab. It's one of my favorite plays, like, period, in the market right now. Raheem Morris, first-year head coach, more of like a culture guy, comes in trying to instill, greatness amongst men. Great. I want to see an offense that's functional, and I want to see all the pieces come together. Kyle Pitts still hasn't done it yet. I'm a big Kyle Pitts guy. I still have my questions about his ability because we just haven't seen it at the NFL level here yet. And I think that probably changes this time around. But as much as I can say nice about the offensive side of things, what they did in the draft didn't really help some of their key sticking points. They've always been pretty decent against the run, but go out and get a couple of no-name linebackers there in the second, third after the Michael Penix thing, which we could go on an entire soliloquy about. I don't understand how you look at the secondary and think that immediately they're going to somehow transcend football here. And this is a division that I do think is pretty wide open. I would never even be looking at their prices. We covered in the Tampa spot that I'm very much on the Tampa bandwagon on the over of their wins and for their potential to sneak this NFC South at a plus 320 type price. It's not a big Falcons believer here. And again, first year head coach, we see this go south so many times and it's like people just put up the blinders to it. I got to be short in the Falcons for a number of different defensive reasons. Offensively, again, I think Kirk Cousins is going to be fine. I think this team is going to put up points in a dome, try to do everything they possibly can to get Bijan Robinson the ball in space, which we really didn't see last year. But now they're going to establish the run with Tyler Algier too. So many weird coach speak things coming out of camp here. Find an identity and play to it. And I don't know if Atlanta's going to, Prop Beaver.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, so usually when I'm doing these previews, I speak from a place of confidence. I speak pretty hyperbolically. I'm not really going to speak like that for this one because there's a shit ton of question marks. And I already spoke pretty hyperbolically about one quarterback coming off an Achilles injury. I feel pretty nuts doing that about a second one here. I'm a pretty big Kirk Cousins guy. I love Kirk. I've been a stout, I don't know how to say this. I've been sticking up for the guy for years. I feel like Kirk Cousins has been getting way too disrespected as a quarterback for years. It's been a top 10 quarterback pretty much almost his entire career, I could argue. And I just feel it's a bit ridiculous the disrespect that he's gotten over the years. But now the problem is that he's coming off of the Achilles tear. On top of that, the Falcons' offensive line is one that is it's built much more to withstand a run game rather than a pass game. On top of that, I just really need to see this offense click before anything. On top of that, the play calling. I mean, we've never seen the offensive coordinator call the plays before. This is a guy who learned under Sean McVay. It's a lot easier to learn under these guys than to actually call the plays. I mean, just ask Mr. What is it? My example, I'm completely blanking on right now. I'm sorry, I'm a bit out of it right now. But I just don't know if it's exactly going to click the way that people are imagining it to. Just because of the amount of talent here doesn't mean that it's going to they're going to put up the points that everybody's thinking. On top of that, Kirk may just be uncomfortable with that Achilles. So I don't know if they're going to be putting up the insane amount of points that people are thinking. Raheem Morris, as you mentioned, doesn't have the coaching experience as well. And then on the other side of the ball is my biggest concern here, because yes, you add Justin Simmons and you add Matthew Judon. But even with Matthew Judon, I mean, the pass rush still very below league average. Grady Jarrett is the other, I would say, best player in the front seven. And he's a 31-year-old coming off an ACL tear in November. AJ Terrell is the best player in the secondary besides Jesse Bates, obviously.
Yeah. Jesse Bates, yeah.
Jesse Bates is a dog. But AJ Terrell, I thought he was going to be playing hungry this year, trying to get that contract, trying to live up to the former hype that he had. We've kind of really seen his play fall off a bit over the past 2 years, at least in my opinion, to what he once was. And I thought he was going to have to play up and try and get that contract. Now he gets paid that big money, and it's like, now does he even have to play up to that contract? Does he have to play hungry anymore? I know obviously you have the hype of trying to compete for the division. Obviously you have the belief that you're this playoff team now, but I don't know. It's just in terms of motivation, I didn't really love that exactly. I don't really know why they had to pay him right then and there, especially when you're going and trading for a guy like Judon that you're also going to have to pay eventually if you, I mean, unless you acquired him for no reason as just a rental. So I didn't really understand that. I don't know. I just feel like the defense overall is a bit overrated. Again, Mr. Lake, who's their defensive coordinator.
Jimmy Lake.
Another guy who's a first-time play caller, I believe, as an NFL defensive coordinator. So I just have a lot of question marks with this team. And at 9.5 for plus money on a schedule that was a bit surprising to me in terms of difficulty, besides people in the division, I think that there is a bit of value on that under at the plus money.
Yeah, and my opinion on the Falcons is very brief. I don't like how the weakness of their defense is, in my opinion, the most important aspect of running a successful defensive football, which is the pass rush. It used to be 2001, you needed to be able to stop the run. In 2024 NFL, you need to be able to pressure the quarterback. I don't think you can. I mean, ask the Kansas City Chiefs. Their defense hasn't even been good for 5 years, but they get pressure on the quarterback. And if you could do that, you can win games. You can hide other things if you can consistently pressure the quarterback. The Falcons are one of the worst pass rushes in football last year, and I don't think Matthew Judon coming off a major injury, Grady Jarrett coming off a major injury, I don't think that solves the problem. I mean, all of a sudden, they go from like the 31st ranked pass rush to the 8th. I just don't see enough of a jump there. And with a brand new coaching staff, I agree with Lindy that I'm a little bit of a seller on the Falcons, but I disagree on the Bucks. I think the Saints are the team in this division, but I
don't
agree.
completely hate that either. I mean, you're getting better than 3-1 on either side of it. New Orleans, from a defensive standpoint, looks great. But, like, again, this Atlanta team just doesn't force any turnovers. Like, 8 picks, and I think 6 of them Jesse Bates had last season. I mean, it's an unbelievably porous defense that didn't get a lot better. Again, a couple of linebackers in the draft, but, like, nothing substantial to me. Still rolling out Bud Dupree on a day-to-day basis. Like, are we doing this? Like, this is just overall a football team that I'm not sold on them being this good. And again, the market is valuing them very, very heavily. I mean, they're obviously backing them. They love Atlanta, and they're bought in, and they're, again, going out and getting a piece like Matthew Judon. I'm not going to besmirch it. That's obviously a phenomenal pickup, but you got to know how to make the pieces work. And yeah, Jimmy Lake coming from the McVay coaching tree as well.
Yeah,
jury's out on him. First-year head coach, quarterback off of an Achilles tear. There's just more question marks I have that it seems everybody else is just neglecting. So yeah, if you want to go New Orleans and Tampa and bet both of them and just say straight out, they're the two, one of those two can win the division here and not back Atlanta.
Or Carolina.
I don't completely hate that idea either. Yeah, we're not going to back Carolina today. That's not going to be. I don't know what to make of Bryce Young and potentially anything that he has there to work with this season. But the one thing that Atlanta has going for them is this is a very weak schedule and a very weak division. So it's a very advantageous spot, but again, not going to be in on Atlanta whatsoever this year.
Yeah. So I saw Sahika Smith was saying that I said that Raheem Morris doesn't have that much experience. No, he has plenty of experience. Head coaching experience, he doesn't have much of. He only has 2 or 3 seasons for Tampa Bay in 2009 to 2011. That is ages ago. I mean, who's the quarterback then? Josh Freeman? I mean, Lordy, I hope
Adam Gase had 6 years of head coaching experience. You want Adam Gase leading your football team?
I hope that experience doesn't carry over, for Christ's sakes. Anyways, now.
Yeah, let's talk the schedules. If you're a Falcons guy, you got to find me 10 wins.
And I don't really think this schedule's the easiest for a quarterback that is coming off an Achilles tear to open up the season. I mean, you're starting off with a Pittsburgh pass rush, a Philly pass rush, and a Kansas City pass rush.
Yep.
That's pretty tough right there.
Yeah. For me, it's backloaded for like playoff waiting because I'm always looking at, fantasy relevance for playoff time. And I know that they have the Commanders week 17. And then leading into that, the Raiders and the Giants. That's useful.
They have a nice, easy schedule down the stretch. I mean, Chargers,
at the end, but
Minnesota, but that
I don't think it's great. Like I have them 1-3 after those first 4 games.
As do I.
I think they'll take either Pittsburgh or New Orleans and lose the 2 in between. They'll go 1. So I have them 1-3 after 4 games. Not a good starter if we're trying to get to 10 wins. Home against the Bucks. I mean, the fact that it's a short week, the Bucks have to travel. I guess I would give that to Atlanta, get them to the second win. At Carolina with some extra rest, I guess I'll give them that one. Get them to a 3rd win. Home against Seattle. I mean, Jesus Christ. Was that going to be a pick 'em? Atlanta minus 1.5? I don't know. How about this? They'll lose the other one to Tampa. We'll say they split Tampa. Let's say, I'm not seeing 10 wins here, guys. If you're an Atlanta fan, just speak up. Where are the wins at? I mean, home Chargers,
Carolina
home Giants.
Twice.
I mean, is it crazy to say that the Panthers steal one?
I mean, I was pretty down on the Panthers and the play calling with Canales. But then again, if Canales changes the play calling, I mean, if he gets his head out of his ass and stops running it up the gut for 2 yards.
Yeah. Get Terrence Marshall off the field forever. That would be good, too.
All right. So, I put up under for me. I would have him at 9. Although I do think 10 is probably more likely than 8. But still, I think 9 is the magic number here. So put me up at under.
Oh, I have the graphics from the other thing. All right, let me get your thing up. Okay. Yeah, I would have to also be on team under 9. I mean, just purely at the value.
Wow, we're all fading Cousins.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that tough schedule to begin just puts you in a bad spot in terms of momentum. And if you're starting the season off with bad momentum, you're already in a pretty tough spot. I mean, what's that stat? If you start the season off 0-3, you're in a really shit spot to make the playoffs. They are in a prime spot, I believe, to start the season off 0-3. No.
Sahika responded to your thing, by the way.
Sahika, thank you. Thank you, my brother.
Yeah, it's nice to see someone people disagree without being an asshole about it.
Isn't it nice?
I love that.
It's my hold hands and we agree and we learn from each other. It's beautiful. It's a community.
All right. So, should we get into some college football picks? Yeah. Lindy, thanks for stopping by.
Thank you for coming on.
Make sure you guys give him a follow.
Good to see you, Beaver.
Yes, sir. Great
later, man.
Bye, Kyle.
Later. Let's talk some college football. Week 1, Coastal, Jacksonville State. Let's get the Hawaii Rainbow Warrior on the screen himself, King of Hawaii.
Oh.
The Hawaiian King, we call him. He's getting Andy on the screen real quick.
I got a good name for him today, too.
So, by the way, if you haven't been paying attention to college football, week 1 is here, week 0 is over, and this is a Thursday game. So this game is in 3 days. And by the way, we'll go through it again the day of. This is we're just going to go through the slate. All right, so all right. So this game's on Thursday, and Thursday we'll do it and make our final picks and stuff. But I already bet this one, so you can go ahead and throw Coastal money line up for me. Actually, I don't know if you have a money line graphic.
Oh, he does not. No.
Yeah, so I mean, maybe just throw Coastal plus 2.5 or type Coastal money line. I got it at plus 120, whatever you want to do. So yeah, this is a light bet. I took Coastal money line at the plus 120. Look, I think there's a lot of people that are going to look at last year's matchup between these two And you'll see that Coastal won by 2 touchdowns. The final score was 30-16. If you take a closer look, Coastal Carolina wasn't able to run the ball in that game at all. The rushing numbers were pretty terrible. And I think a lot of people are going to look at that game and be like, hey, Grayson McCall's gone. He's on NC State now. Coastal, and they also lost some production at wide receiver. Coastal's not going to have a passing game this year, so they can't run on Jacksonville State with Grayson McCall gone. How are they going to move the ball on this Jacksonville State defense? And I'm not saying there's like no truth to that, but I expect the Coastal Carolina rushing attack to take a step forward. They really like their running back room this year, Coastal. They got that kid Bennett, I think Baden Bennett, right? Mm-hmm. Back from last year. He's their RB1. They also brought in a transfer. Oh, they brought in 2 transfers, one from Mississippi State, one from New Mexico. They also have a kid that was a freshman last year named Simpkins that they like a lot. So they have 3 or 4 serviceable running backs that they like. So, yeah, they lost Grayson McCall, but they're set at running back, and they bring back 3 starters on the offensive line. So it's not like I expect the offensive line to be terrible.
You're saying there's an echo.
Yeah, I don't know what the... It's usually when I talk quiet, the echo goes away. So, yeah, they lost... or just lower Andy's volume when I'm talking. So they lost. They're bringing back 3 starters on the offensive line. And so it's not like I expect the offensive line production to drop off. In fact, I think they improve a little bit. They're loaded at running back. So the idea of Coastal Carolina being this passing offense that needs to throw the ball, and now Grayson McCall's gone, I don't think that's an accurate way to describe them. Because now here they are against Jacksonville State this time, and I think they're going to be able to run the ball a little bit. Keep in mind, there's no way Jacksonville State is going to be able to replicate what they did against the run last year. They had one of the best. They had a historic run defense for a program like Jacksonville State. They were ranked the 25th strongest run defense in the country. For a Conference USA team, that's fucking crazy. I mean, they were top 10 in every single run defense metric. But this defense, this Jacksonville State defense, they lost their top 2 defensive linemen. They lost their top 2 linebackers. 5 of their 6 leading tacklers are gone. And who else is gone, Andy? Oh, I have his mic muted. Zach Alley, their defensive coordinator, is gone. He took the Oklahoma job. So, I mean, that defense that was elite against the run last year, it's most of the pieces that consisted of that defense consisted of is gone. So, I mean, look, they brought in some pieces through the transfer portal. It was definitely an attractive. I'm sure they have talent, no question, and I'm sure they're going to be a tough run defense again. But I don't think it's crazy that Coastal Carolina can go into Jacksonville State and run the football. I don't think that's crazy. And I'm not saying they're going to gash them, but I think the run game's going to be there. And look, if you talk to a Coastal Carolina fan, they'll tell you this kid, quarterback Ethan Vasco, they'll tell you he can sling it. I mean, we haven't seen a ton of it yet, and he's definitely more athletic than Grayson McCall as well, so he should be able to run the ball a little bit, even adding to what I was just saying before. I think Coastal's got to be the play. The reason it's a smaller bet, a lot of unknowns, and I don't really trust the Coastal Carolina secondary. I think it's going to be a little shaky, and Jacksonville State, they got rid of Zion Webb at quarterback, so they're going to lose a little bit of their rushing attack, but they're starting Logan Smothers, who he's a little bit better of a thrower. So I guess there's an avenue open that Jacksonville State could come out in this game and start throwing the ball on Coastal. It's thin because Jacksonville State had no passing attack at all last year, but I don't think it's unfathomable. So, Coastal Carolina money line at plus 120 is what I bet so far. And you don't have to mute mine. For some reason, his mic doesn't echo. It's just mine when his mic's on. Prop Beaver. So just turn his volume up and it'll be fine.
Got me.
Go ahead.
All right. I honestly, we think about this game very similarly. I like everything you said. I'm a huge Vasco fan. I've been throughout all the previews we've done. You've been like dumbfounded by how much I like him. I see a lot of McCall arm wise in him, and being a dual threat guy who can run, that helps a ton too. So like I said, I think of it very similarly. Coastal Carolina's weakest link is their secondary. I don't really love Smothers. I don't really love that pass attack. You need to run. I think Coastal Carolina will be a fine run defense. Somebody did just bring up the under because these teams run a lot. I don't necessarily think that Coastal's going to. I think Coastal's going to have opportunities to air it out with Vasco, so I think they could score a lot in this one. I'm siding Coastal Carolina too. Also small for me. I haven't even bet it yet. I think I'm going to by Thursday, but a lot of unknowns with Jacksonville State. They were an unknown last year too, to be fair, and they were amazing. So I'm very nervous about kind of is there more magic for this team? I don't necessarily think so, but there could be. So it's small, but I'm on Coastal Carolina plus 2.5.
All right, both of us on Coastal. It looks like we're polling on Coastal as well. 52%, 32% on Coastal Carolina. Next game, please, Prop Beaver. And I noticed that it helps with the echo if I talk quieter. So I'll tone it back.
So when should I mute this clown?
When I'm talking for a while, you could turn his volume down.
Rambling.
Next game. Next game. Oh, it's Coach Prime time. It's Coach Prime time. All right, so if you guys have been following me, you know that I don't really bet games that involve FCS programs, and that is this, North Dakota State. Obviously, we had to bring the graphics up and talk about it. It's Coach Prime. How could you not talk about it? I won't be placing a bet on this game. If I do, it'll just be having some fun gambling. Andy can probably talk about this game a little better than I can. So, wait, he has got to unmute your mic first.
I'm going to be forefront. I'm 1-1 on FCS games this year, but everybody's talking about the Hawaii fiasco. But I feel more comfortably about North Dakota State. You know more about NDSU than you do about Delaware State. Look, they're going to have the advantage in the trenches. I know that Colorado's very excited about their O-line, but a lot of those guys are transfers, and this is going to be their first game action together. That's not the case for North Dakota State. This team is every year pumping out NFL O-linemen, pumping out guys that transfer up to FBS schools. This is always something they're good at. They're going to have the advantage in the trenches like a lot of teams did against Colorado last year, and they didn't know how to deal with that. When the games that Colorado won last year, more specifically the early ones against Nebraska and the games against TCU was a very bad team in the trenches last year. We saw that. They lost everybody the year before that had gone to the national championship team. And Nebraska was a much weaker team than they are this year, and they really weren't that good of a team overall last year. Colorado got the advantage of those teams not being ready for them being able to outrun those teams, but also be more powerful than those teams. North Dakota State's a very powerful team. They're going to be able to stop the run. They're going to be able to get push on the O-line. It's going to be very hard for them to get to the quarterback. So for Colorado to get to the quarterback, which is what they need to do. And I think Shedeur will be in trouble for a lot of the game. Does that mean that North Dakota State's going to win? Not necessarily, because Colorado State's going to be a hell of a lot faster and more dynamic than them and be able to make a lot of those. Yeah, they'll be much faster on the outside. Shedeur is obviously a Heisman candidate, so they'll have the quarterback advantage there too. So each team's going to have their advantages in this one. And I feel it makes it like such a close game and such a tight game that I'd side North Dakota State covering this one, and I'm waiting to see if the number goes up more. We'll see, because I know a lot of people will be betting this game on Thursday, and there's no doubt people are going to see Colorado and say, well, I got to bet on that game. It's Coach Prime. It's Shedeur. So I know a lot of people will be betting this one late, but I really, since this game came out when it was North Dakota State, I've been saying this is going to be upset watch. This is going to be one of the best. It's easily, I think it's the best game on Thursday. It's going to be a great game.
All right, so you can lower Andy's mic now. So look, like I said, I don't know a ton of about North Dakota State. I know they're a very impressive FCS program. It would, put up buffs for me, Coach Prime for me. I don't think I'm going to bet this, but the problem with Colorado, in addition to not knowing North Dakota State, just like last year with Colorado, we're dealing with the biggest of question marks ever. They have the pieces. What was the problem last year? The offensive line, right? The defense. They improved everywhere. Offensive line's got some really nice pieces, but does it work? Can they coach those pieces? Can they all mesh? I don't know. I feel like no one can tell you for sure what's going to happen, but didn't they bring in the number one offensive lineman? Yeah, the number one offensive lineman in the country went to Colorado, and he's starting at left tackle. So on paper, they also killed it in the transfer portal on defense. They brought in talent from everywhere. So on paper, see, what happened last year was they still had a bunch of FCS kids on the roster, and for a game like Oregon, there was a huge talent gap, right, between Colorado and Oregon. It wasn't close. Well, this year, that's not really the case. They upgraded again. So here they are. The huge talent gap goes towards Colorado here, and it's not even close, the talent gap between Colorado and North Dakota State. So I don't know. What we see last year, Coach Bryan came out early in the season, shut all the haters up, and then they got the last laugh. I think it starts similarly. They come out and shut everyone up and beat the shit out of North Dakota State, but I don't know shit about North Dakota State, so. Hold on, you're muted.
People are saying this if this is a shootout, and there are some people saying that it would be a shootout, that does not benefit North Dakota State. This needs to be a low-scoring, boring-ass game for North Dakota State. I mean, they are nowhere near as fast or talented as Colorado on the outside. Like, I mean, just looking receiver-wise, I mean, Colorado's got one of the better receiver rooms in the country. They were able to get a couple of transfers from pretty good schools and 1,000-yard receivers. That's not going to be that there for North Dakota State. They need to play a slow, boring game.
They're asking who North Dakota State's quarterback is.
It's not your usual guy. I mean, if you look at North Dakota State in the past, they've had Trey Lance, they had Carson Wentz, they've had plenty of guys. He's more of he's a thrower, but this team doesn't have the receivers to keep up with Colorado. So that's what I'm saying.
The quarterback's a thrower, guys.
He's a thrower.
Well, no, but you have to say that nowadays in football because there's some teams.
What kind of quarterback? They have a thrower.
All right, whatever. But no, this offense is not going to be built to withstand a high scoring game against Colorado. So it needs to be low scoring.
All right, let's move on to the next one. Good game here. North Carolina, Minnesota. I feel like there's a lot of interesting angles to it as well. First of all, you can lower Andy's mic again, please. So first of all, there's a revenge angle here. Minnesota got their asses beat by this team last year. Granted, that was in Chapel Hill. Now we're in Minneapolis, where historically PJ Fleck and his boys perform a lot better here in Minneapolis. So right off the bat, we're swinging back towards Minnesota, the fact that it's at home. And look, I feel like a lot of what we saw from Minnesota last year was just one giant outlier based on what the data we have from PJ Fleck's tenure here. I mean, what kind of program do we usually see from PJ Fleck? Tough defense, physical run game that's tough to stop, really good home defense. Like, no one goes into Minneapolis and score points. We didn't really see that last year. I mean, they went through all kinds of shit. And in my opinion, I think they're pretty loaded up. Now, when I say loaded up, I'm not expecting to see Minnesota win 10 games, but usually you can pencil Minnesota in for 8 or 9 wins, and I think we're back in that category based on the fact that, first of all, their offensive line is looking good. 4 out of 5 starters are back on the Minnesota offensive line, and this is usually a strong offensive line. Last year, they lost a lot of production, didn't really go well. Well, everyone's back, and everyone should be better. So I like the offensive line here for Minnesota. North Carolina's defensive front, by the way, they lost their best player, Cedric Gray. Linebacker, defensive captain, led the team in tackles, all that. He's gone. Now, they do have some playmakers on the defense still, but they lost their main guy. He's gone. So this Minnesota team, despite going through all the shit they went through last year, in this game in Chapel Hill, they still averaged 5.5 yards per carry. So they were still, with their RB1 injured last year and the terrible offensive line Minnesota had last year, they still ran the ball 5.5 yards a clip on North Carolina. So with the offensive line looking stronger, they're looking pretty strong at running back as well. They should be able to run the ball on North Carolina no problem here at home, especially with that linebacker missing. Now, as far as the Minnesota quarterback, I don't know. I mean, he comes from New Hampshire. He's a 4-year starter. He's got video game stats. He's got like 77 touchdowns or something. But, I mean, he's an FCS kid. He's been playing at New Hampshire. How does that translate to the Big Ten? It's a little bit of a jump in competition. So, you know what? Put Andy's mic on so he could talk about this kid, because I know you were saying there's a lot of hype surrounding him, right?
Yeah, everybody seems to love this kid. He was actually pretty highly recruited out of transfer. Max Brosmer, sorry. Yeah, he was pretty highly recruited outside of when he left New Hampshire this year. There were a couple of other teams in the Big Ten, I think, that wanted him. And Minnesota got him, and they were really happy when they got him. And I had never heard of him like everybody else. He was a kid from New Hampshire. New Hampshire's not an overly great team in the FCS. But yeah, his numbers are ridiculous in the FCS. I've always said I don't know how that translates. I think it helps a little bit that I think he's starting off against a UNC team whose defense last year was the weakest part of the team by far. I mean, pretty much since Mac Brown got there again, like, haven't had a very good defense overall, so I think that helps. And honestly, anything's better than what Khalid Manis did last year. He was pretty bad.
Whoa, no.
Respect.
Not here.
I'm just saying, the way that this offense was 2 years ago was Khalid Manis was obviously better than he was last year. So they were able to run their offense better. Last year, they pretty much didn't have a quarterback. They might as well have not had a quarterback on the field. That's all I'm saying. Like, they couldn't run. Everybody knew they were going to run the ball because they didn't have a quarterback situation last year. I think Brosmer helps that at least people are, maybe the fear of him throwing the football is there. There wasn't really that last year against Minnesota. You could prepare and stack the box for the run. Not going to be able to do that this year. I hope he's good because I think that this team around him is pretty good, but it's definitely a question mark, but his numbers in the FCS show that he should be really good.
Okay. All right. Fair. So, but am I willing to back this kid in his first game of the Big Ten throwing the ball on North Carolina secondary that does have some athletes in it? No. But I do think Minnesota will be able to run the football on North Carolina just like they did last year because they've actually upgraded and North Carolina lost their best player in the defensive front. Now, on the other side, we got the North Carolina offense, as Andy mentioned, is always the strength of their team, right? The offense is always the strength of the North Carolina team. And at first glance, things look pretty good. I mean, they lost Drake May, obviously, but they replaced him. They brought in Max Johnson. This guy's got 4 years SEC experience. He wasn't riding the bench. This dude has started in 4 different seasons in the SEC. 2 years with Texas A&M, 2 years in LSU. And he didn't just start. Max Johnson's pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
Like, he can play. He's played in some really big games. This is a great pickup here, Max Johnson. Maybe not the shiny NFL prospect that North Carolina had with Drake May or Sam Howell the last couple of years. Yeah. But Max Johnson, no question, can put points on the board. They also bring back Omarion Hampton, superstar running back, NFL guy. He's back, 1,500 yards. I think he had 15 touchdowns last year. He's a beast. They've got wide receivers. J.J. Jones is still there. They lost Tez Walker, but J.J. Jones is still there. So at first glance, you look at this North Carolina offense, you're like, they're loaded. I mean, Max Johnson, Hampton still up running back, J.J. Jones a receiver. North Carolina's got a couple other receivers too. They're fine. But that offensive line is gutted. 4 out of 5 starters gone. The only starter back is the center. I don't know. Okay, so you got 4 out of 5 starters on the offensive line gone for North Carolina. Not only that, again, what did I say during the Georgia Tech game? I said, we're not just handicapping the North Carolina season. We're handicapping week 1 on the road in Minnesota against a Minnesota defensive front that might be all the way back this year. Remember, they had a little bit of an off year last year. Normally, you don't go into Minneapolis and run the ball on the Gophers. Like, you just don't. And they bring back a ton of production on the defense. 5 of their top 6 linebackers are back. And this is a North Carolina offense that Drake May got all the press, but really, they ran the ball a lot last year. The run was a very important part of North Carolina's offense. I don't know if they're going to be able to get Hampton going here. I think potentially they could exploit the weakest part of the Minnesota defense, which is the secondary. I think Max Johnson's good enough to do that. But his first game in a new system with a bunch of players he's never played with before, in a tough spot with Minnesota where he might not have the run game to bail him out, I don't like that. So as far as how I think, I haven't bet this game yet, but as far as how I think this game's going to go, 23-21 final score, Minnesota wins. Minnesota and under. And I think the under might be the play here, but the reason I haven't bet it, because it's at 50.5, and I'm thinking more like 42, 44. But the reason I haven't bet it yet, I'm a little worried about both quarterbacks because I feel like there's a lot of variance on both sides. First of all, you got Max Johnson. The weakness of the Minnesota defense is the secondary. So even though I just said, hey, first game with new pieces and a new system, this Max Johnson, dude, changes systems every 6 months. It's still it still shows out. I don't think it's crazy that Max Johnson has a good game there. I'd bet against it, but I don't think it's crazy that Max Johnson goes off throwing the ball. And also, inverse, on the other side, Minnesota loves this New Hampshire kid. What if he starts slinging the ball? So clearly they have this total up at 50.5. So clearly the market sees it a little differently than I do. I think my best bet here, my favorite bet would be the under at 50.5. So I just named the reasons I haven't bet it, and also throw this in there. I took the under in this game last year at 42.5, I believe, and it went over. So I lost on this exact bet in this exact game last year. So I like Minnesota in a low-scoring game. Let's say 23-21 final score, Minnesota wins. And North Carolina misses a field goal to lose it.
This feels eerily similar to what happened with Nebraska and Minnesota to start last year.
No,
but
wasn't that 12-10? That was the Iowa game. That was 12-10.
yeah, it was like I think Nebraska did miss a field goal to try to win the game, but yeah, I'm a little bit more on the UNC side here. I think that they will be able to run. I don't think anybody
You're
can
in North
stop them.
Carolina?
Yeah, I'm gonna lead North Carolina here. I don't know if I'm gonna bet this yet. This is a tight one because this is this is the closest game of the whole week, but I like the quarterback. Obviously, Max Johnson's not, like you said, the NFL guy. They had Trubisky, Sam Howell, and then Drake May in a row. I think there's a little bit of a drop off there, but he's still, he was doing a really good job against SEC defenses. I'm gonna go on a limb and say he's going to do a pretty good job against Big Ten and ACC defenses this year. So I think he'll be fine, and I think they're gonna be able to run the ball. Like I said, Omarion Hampton, I don't think anybody will necessarily contain him this year. He's toward one of the top running backs in the country returning. So I think they'll be able to get a lot going on offense. I'm always worried about their defense. This defense is usually pretty bad, but again, you said transfers. They did get a couple of transfers in there, and Mac Brown knew they needed that because his defense was atrocious last year, especially in the secondary. And that's not necessarily because of Brosmer, the questions about him. I think that could help, that being the weaker side, but then maybe not being able to throw. So I'm leaning UNC here, but I'm not totally in love with it.
Next game. That's a bad bet.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, man. Temple, Oklahoma. And the question we have to ask here is, it's a simple one. This will be a quick one. Is it worth taking a stab at Temple to score 0 points? Because in case you don't know, if you're just now getting into college football and haven't looked at anything entering this season, throw everything you know about Oklahoma out, because Brent Venables has his defense now, and Oklahoma might be a top 5 defense in the country this year. Not only that, it's Temple. And what was the only thing that was halfway decent about Temple last year? E.J. Warner. They had a quarterback. They had an NFL caliber quarterback somehow at Temple. He's gone. So he's with Rice now, in case you know. And I do have Rice. I laid the points with Rice in week 1. So I think that offense is going to be really good. But anyway, as far as Temple right now, Temple to score 0 points. Put Oklahoma minus 43. This is an absolute shellacking.
Yeah. Am I muted? No, you never muted me. Okay, never mind. Sorry. I'm with you. Oklahoma minus 43, and I also love that team total. The team total right now is 7.5. I'm probably gonna bet that on Thursday.
Hold on. He's talking about the Temple team total.
Yeah. I don't have a graphic for that. We'll have that on Thursday because I'm probably gonna bet that. Yeah, this is not just one of the top 5 defenses in the country. This is the best defense in the country. They're number 1, I think. Probably the best that I had gone through this year. I think that if they score a touchdown, cool. At 7.5, that I can afford 1 touchdown. There's no way they're getting in the end zone twice on a Friday night in Oklahoma starting the season. First game as an SEC team. That place is going to be crazy. And like you said, Temple sucks. So, I really, really like Temple to score like 3 or 7 is my. I don't know if they'll get shut out. It's very hard to shut teams out. But if there was a scenario, this would be one of them. So
that graphic just looks crazy on the screen. Temple team total under 7.5. That ass though, like how I honestly, if I might search for some markets on this one in the Discord, we'll do it. We'll look for some fun markets. Maybe in all seriousness, like not even joking, Temple to have 0 points at half.
Yeah.
Because maybe, like, obviously they could steal some against the second
late
unit.
in the game, you never know what the backup's coming in. Somebody could make a mistake, fumble, backup quarterback could throw. Casey Thompson will get in this game. That'll be cool. His 9th year as a quarterback in college. He'll get in the game. Maybe he makes a mistake.
He'll still probably throw 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
But honestly, Temple to have 0 points at half. I bet you that if there's decent odds on that, I might take that.
Last week was one of the weirdest ones. I was looking at the Delaware State team total. They were the first team I've ever seen to be minus money to not score. They were minus 115 to score 0 points. And they scored 14. They scored 2 touchdowns. But
let's go to the next game. FAU Michigan State. This is a cool one. And okay. So first of all, Andy is big on this Michigan State team. I am not at all. That being said, this is just such a nightmare start for FAU. There were 14s. I see it got bet down to 13.5. Most of the market has it at 13.5 now. So there are some sharp money coming in, taking the plus 14 points. I couldn't get there. I do have a lean for this game. You know what? Let me explain why first. Okay, so if you're not familiar with FAU, they brought in Cam Fancher to play quarterback, and he was with Marshall last year. Really wasn't anything special. Kind of had a rough season with Marshall. That being said, no question, he's an upgrade from what FAU had, because they really didn't even have a quarterback. Who was it? Darryl Robinson or something? What was his name?
FAU. It was Robinson, but Casey Thompson started and he got hurt. And
Yeah. So Casey Thompson was supposed to be the starter at FAU. He got hurt. So whatever. They bring in Cam Fancher. And yeah, that's probably an upgrade at quarterback. Here's the thing. Everyone else on this FAU offense is gone. The top 2 running backs, the top 2 receivers, 4 out of 5 offensive linemen. And they did do pretty well in the transfer portal, I believe. But we're talking week 1 on the road in East Lansing. Get the fuck, are you crazy? A new quarterback, all new pieces, and a system they've never played in before on the road against, on the road in the Big Ten. Like, there's no way. The talent gap is going to be too big with people that's never played together. I look, the only saving grace here, if you are buying some of this FAU plus 13 and FAU plus 14, is Michigan State's got a lot of new pieces on the defensive side as well. So you could say, hey, the FAU scrambling around with new pieces, so is Michigan State defensively. Okay, but still, the talent is a lot better on Sparty's side here. Now, the reason that I'm not laying the points, probably you could put up FAU team total under. Unfortunately, it's down to 14.5 now. There was a 16.5. I didn't get it. So, but still, I don't think they break over 2 touchdowns. My angle that I would like to bet here is FAU's not going to score points. So, FAU team total under 14.5. I would lean Michigan State minus the points as well. But the reason I'm not going to lay the 14, Andy's about to take the mic and tell you about Aiden Childs. He's got a weird thing for this guy. I'm not even laughing. He does. It's strange. So Aiden Childs is the new quarterback at Michigan State. Andy thinks he's the best quarterback to ever play at the collegiate level, apparently. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of this guy. There's no other way around it. I talked about it the other day. From the moment I heard this game was announced, I loved this spot for Michigan State. I will say, I'm higher on FAU than everybody else was. You guys screamed at me for liking that. I think Cam Fancher's a solid spot there, because there's now no question who's going to be the quarterback, right? Last year they had the injury, and then it was like, oh, they had backups. Now they have their guy. If Fancher stays healthy, he's good. I think he's a solid option. But in this spot, you're right. Going on the road, East Lansing, Big Ten, all that, that's an awful spot for this team. And then on the flip side, the FAU defense isn't overly strong, and they're now going up against what I think is a really good offense. A good running back with Carter back. Childs, I expect to be really good. The receiver room was solid. They're young but solid. So the offensive line is tough, but I think they're going to be able to run around on this FAU team. There's not much pass rush for FAU, so they should be able to put up a lot of points. The 14, if it's down at 13.5 now, I like it. I think that this game will be around 14 to 17 point win for Michigan State. It's a nice game. It's a fun game kind of, because they are very similar teams in the way they run their offenses, and it'll be fun. But this is a really good spot for Michigan State to start a new era of football against FAU. Maybe it's a slow start, but I expect by the second half, Michigan State's gonna be able to run their offense very easily.
Well, here's the thing with Michigan State. It's kind of comparable to North Carolina, where, in a sense, where they're pretty good at the skill positions. They got the superstar 5-star quarterback, Childs, right? Andy likes. But all jokes aside, everyone likes this kid. Apparently, he's the man. They got their RB1 back, Nate Carter. They also brought in K-Ron Lynch-Adams from, what was he,
UMass.
Yeah,
1,000-yard rush at UMass.
Rushed for over 1,100 yards last year. That's RB2 here. So Michigan State's got the superstar quarterback. Hopefully he pans out. They've got 2 really talented running backs. Like, they've got the skill positions. I'm worried about the offensive line. Michigan State's offensive line is gutted, and that's why I can't get there laying the points. It's a brand new offensive line, a quarterback that this is it. I mean, his first game essentially. So, and by the way, FAU's defense wasn't that bad last year.
It was a solid defense, but I don't think they're going to be comparable to how fast Michigan State's offense is going to run this year.
FAU brings back 3 of their top 4 linebackers. They were okay against the run last year, and defense travels, man. I could see, kind of like we saw at Florida State in that Georgia Tech game. The offense just didn't look right, sputtering. Could see some of that from Michigan State, keeping this game low. I would also lean under,
Yeah.
but I'm not going to because Michigan State has the talent to put up 60 if they're clicking. So FAU team total under 14.5 as of right now, I think is the safest bet I could find. I haven't bet it yet though.
Yeah, I could tell you were hinting at a complete game under. I actually would lean over on a second. I think Michigan State's gonna be able to score a lot of points.
Next up, we got one more game to get through.
What a game.
Western Michigan. I like this Western Michigan team, man. All right, so Western Michigan. So I actually just looked at this one earlier today. So probably not going to be able to get a video out for this one. So I like if you watch the Western Michigan preview that we did, we went through this team, and on the offensive side of the ball, it's impossible to not like what they got here. Hayden Wolf's back at quarterback. He's got 30 career starts. He's one of the most experienced quarterbacks in college football. You love to see it. They got certainly one of the most experienced quarterbacks in their conference, but 30 career starts. Their top 3 running backs are back. The offensive line is loaded. I think it's 6 of the top 7 offensive linemen are back for Western Michigan. They're 12th in returning production. They're bringing back pieces everywhere. On the offensive side of the ball, there's nothing not to like about Western Michigan here. They should be able to run the ball. They ran the ball a lot last year. They should also be able to throw the ball a little bit with Hayden Wolf. On the offensive side of the ball, thumbs up, 2 thumbs up for me. I think Western Michigan is going to put up points. This is a team we could probably make some money on mid to late October when it's Maction, a team that you know is just going to put up a 35 piece. I think Western Michigan is going to score points. Now, obviously, week 1 on the road in Madison is kind of fucking crazy. Like I'm not saying Western Michigan's coming into Madison putting up points. I'm just saying Western Michigan moving forward know that they have an offense that can score. On the other side, Andy poked a lot of holes in the defense. It's kind of hard to argue. The defensive coordinator hire they made wasn't the guy they wanted.
No, they got a guy. He left 2 weeks after taking the job to take a different job. It was
not a great look. They did bring in some transfers on the defensive line that look good though. Popeye Williams from Louisville. They added a defensive lineman from Iowa also. 3 power 4 defensive linemen transfer into Western Michigan. And this is the weakness of the team. They bring in power 4 conference players on that defensive line. Linebacker and secondary, pretty much everyone back. The only position where they lost production is the defensive line, and they pretty much upgraded through the portal. Now, whether that's ready for week 1 in Madison, but as a whole, I'm big on this Western Michigan team, and I also like how last year, me and Andy talked about this on the preview. Last year, if you look at their schedule, they didn't play Akron, didn't play Kent State, didn't play Buffalo. They didn't play the 3 shittiest teams in the MAC. So you got really unlucky. I mean, I think there's just a buy low spot on this Western Michigan team all around. Just because their schedule, they got really unlucky. I mean, it's like playing in the Big Ten and then not having Indiana on the schedule. You know what I mean? It's
like playing in the SEC and you don't get Vanderbilt, South Carolina, or Arkansas.
Yes,
exactly. That's what that is.
Yeah, like they didn't get the 3 shittiest teams in the MAC last year. Just the conference. I mean, the schedule was just unlucky to them. This year they have all those teams all in a row. Win. So I like this Western Michigan team. Like them to put up points and put up Western Michigan plus 24.5. I didn't bet this one yet. Like I said, I just looked at it today. But there's no way I would lay the points with Wisconsin here. We were talking about the other day. You like this Wisconsin team a lot more than I do.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of this Wisconsin team. The running room is said to be a little bit worse, but I mean, it's Wisconsin. They can always run the ball. They're always recruiting good running backs. And recruiting was a big spot here. Luke Fickell had a huge bump in recruiting. They were 58th in 2023, 22nd in 2024. That's a huge jump. O-line is a huge spot there. They've been recruiting O-linemen. Luke Fickell always good with that. This O-line was pretty bad last year. Now they'll have a good one. I think this offense is going to be really good. Tyler Van Dyke, everybody, he didn't fit at Wisconsin. At Miami, he fits this team. He's on a run first offense, but he'll be able to sling it around the yard a little bit in this one. I don't like this defense. You said it. You thought there were some positives for Western Michigan. They hired FAU's. Scott Power was from FAU. He got fired, or La Tech got fired at La Tech for being, an awful defense, and that was their second choice. I really don't like this situation at all.
He has high standards.
He does. Yep, he's one of the best. I love Sonny Cumbie. But yeah, this is a bad pass defense. This is going to be a really rough spot, I think, for them. I'm going to lean Wisconsin. I might bet this one. I think this is Friday night, but I'm not 1,000% sold on it because that is a pretty high number for a team that really wants to run the ball. I don't like betting a team minus 24.5 for a run first team.
Not to mention, you already know Western Michigan could score points on the second unit.
Yeah, 100%. And I think Hayden Wolf, their quarterback, is going to be really good. He showed flashes of being one of the better quarterbacks in the MAC this year.
I might take the 24.
Yeah, I'm currently leaning Wisconsin, but I'm definitely not gonna bet Western Michigan. I would bet Wisconsin, but I don't know that I'm gonna bet it because this is, unless it goes down a couple of more points, but it won't. I don't love how high this number.
To touch it 21.
21, yeah. 3 touchdowns sounds good. You're getting to the point where they're getting a fourth. So yeah, they're not gonna be doing that. But yeah, Van Dyke would have to be slinging the ball a lot for them to hit this number. But they like to run it.
Van Dyke, aka Tanner Mordecai 2.0.
Tanner Mordecai. Yeah.
All right, so this is the plan, by the way, for those of you watching. We're going to go through, now obviously there's no NFL yet, but next week we'll go through 5 or 6 college football games and 3 NFL games every day. And then so by the end of the week, if you've been watching, you've heard them all. And then on Saturday and Sunday morning, we'll do the big show and go through them all again. But that's the plan. That way, the idea is, like, obviously a lot of you out there, they work, kids, all that, don't have time to handicap 60 games. So if you watch the show, by the time when you're watching on Saturday morning, you have an idea what we're talking about. It's not like you're hearing this stuff for the first time. So I feel like it would help. And also, I think it's good content. So that's the plan. Thanks, everyone, for watching. See you tomorrow, same time.